Morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Free Speech Friday. Thank you for being here. We know that you've got many choices to make every single day, and we are always so very, very grateful that you choose to spend some time with us. So thank you. And again, happy Friday. Please consider joining our team. You know the drill. Tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. There's a gifting goal today, and as always, we are crowdfunded. Anything you'd like to do to support the channel, always appreciated, never expected. You can find all the various appetizers at Factsstillmatter. Don't forget, Linktree, the link jungle in my bio has got a lot of information about upcoming No Kings protests connected to indivisible.org, links to the Facts HQ, which will allow you to have access to some of the fabulous merch that's over there, including Facts After Dark swag. Speaking of FAD, no Facts After Dark tonight. We'll get back on our schedule probably next week, but we will discuss, as they say. Again, the Discord too. Please consider joining our Discord. Most, if not everything that we discuss on the show ends up in the Discord, either through various live sources and or programs or resources. It's a great community that we've really worked hard to develop. So again, thank you guys very, very much. October 3rd, which means the third full day of the government shutdown, the MAGA Republican government shutdown. I want to talk about this because it's really, really interesting what the Republican Party is attempting to do. We know that they're going on various networks and lying to the American people about who's responsible for this. Now, we flat out know that there's this nuclear option available to the Senate. John Thune, who's the Senate Majority Leader, knows that. The nuclear option is basically just the ability to override the filibuster, because the filibuster is nothing more than a Senate rule. Filibuster is the requirement for 60 votes for any legislation to pass. They just used the nuclear option like 2 weeks ago to approve a whole bunch of Trump appointees. They could do the exact same thing with this. So they don't need a single Democratic vote. So they've been lying to you again. But the interesting thing is, I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but there is government websites. So this is the HUD website, and you can see the radical left in Congress has shut down the government. That is referred to as a violation of what's known as the Hatch Act. Let me get this back up so we can continue with our Free Speech Friday. The Hatch Act. So government agencies are supposed to be apolitical by design. Well, the Hatch Act is a law that goes back to 1939, restricts the political activities of federal employees. Okay, we got our daily restriction, friends. So we need your help getting out to the FYP. So everybody tap like crazy. Tapping is clapping. Sharing is caring. Liking is loving. Please consider gifting, even if it's a rose or a single penny or anything on the small side, or just gifting in general helps us, helps show TikTok that we are in fact doing the work and need your help getting us out to the FYP. So thank you in advance for that. Again, the Hatch Act, it restricts the political activities of federal employees and certain state and local government employees whose jobs are connected to federally funded programs, right? Taxpayer dollars, etc. The purpose is to ensure that government programs are administered in a nonpartisan way and to protect federal employees from political coercion in the workplace. Most federal executive branch employees are covered, and in some cases, state and local government workers whose positions are tied to federal funding are also covered. Restrictions include prohibiting employees from engaging in partisan political activity while on duty or in a federal workplace. Okay, that statement again. Prohibiting employees from engaging in partisan political activity while on duty or in a federal workplace. This is a government agency. This is HUD, Department of Housing and Urban Development. And this is what's posted on their website. And that's numerous other agencies. Also, if you were to call, you don't have to do it now because you're enjoying the show. But if you dialed 202-456-1111, that is the direct line to the White House switchboard. And you'll hear Caroline Levitt uttering and echoing the exact same sentiment, that the radical left has shut down the government. That is a direct violation of the Hatch Act, friends. We know that they don't care. We know that they don't care about, the rule of law, democracy in general. Hold on. Yeah, democracy in general, etc. It also bars the use of official authority or influence to interfere with or affect election results, and preventing employees from running for partisan political office. So all of those things have been addressed with the image we just showed you. What's still allowed, our federal employees can still vote, of course, express personal political opinions, and donate to campaigns in their private capacity as long as they don't use their official position or work time resources to do so. Question is about enforcement, right? The U.S. Office of Special Counsel investigates Hacked Act violations. Penalties can range from reprimands to removal from federal service. A recent, Mr. Ingrassia, I think is his name, he's a tried and true Trump loyalist. He's the person that's now in charge of the Office of Special Counsel. So do we expect it to get investigated? Nope. Nope. There was let's see here. The most famous incident of a Hatch Act violation, shocker, happened in the first Trump administration. Kellyanne Conway was found to have violated the Hatch Act multiple times during her time as a White House advisor by criticizing Democratic candidates and endorsing Republicans in her official capacity as White House advisor. In 2018, the OSC determined she violated the law in 2 TV interviews. 2019, OSC issued a further report saying her violations were persistent, notorious, and deliberate, and recommended that she be removed from her federal service. However, because she was a presidential appointee, the OSC could not itself enforce removal. The recommendation went to the president. She later resigned. That whole time was when she was talking about alternative facts. That was around the whole time. So it's not like, thank you, Swishy Raiders. Everybody, hearts in the chat for the Swishy Raiders. Thank you, guys. It's not like this is new to them, but these are just blatant violations of the Hatch Act. Just absolutely just playing in your face. Federal government agencies are supposed to be apolitical, right? As an employee, you can vote for whomever you want, but you can't use your position to promote a political agenda and or ideology and or candidate. And that's what they're doing. These federal agencies, I'm sure if you go to all their federal websites, I'm sure they're going to say the same thing, most if not all, right? People don't understand why that's a problem. It's by design that they're doing this because they're attempting to justify the use of the government shutdown. We're going to get into that in just a second because of Russ Vought. But it's just comical that they want to attempt to say that this is nothing to see here. So again, no one's going to hold them accountable because the Office of Special Counsel is stacked with people who are loyal to President Trump, period. Okay? So it's fucking ridiculous. So if you call the White House switchboard 202-456-1111, you'll hear Triple K's voice basically echoing the same sentiment, which is fucking bullshit. Should all be angry about that. But it's Free Speech Friday. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. That should be the mantra for the day. Some people I'll do what they tell me to do. Depends on the circumstance, I guess. But that's a different conversation. But as far as this administration goes, no. Nope. No, because last time I checked, we are still protected. We still have the right to speak our mind. And we will. And we do it every single day here. So thank you for joining us. It is Free Speech Friday. Not going to see you tonight, but I appreciate that. Okay. I want to get into, obviously, the government shutdown. We can talk status. There's still the blame game that's happening. As we went through yesterday, we spent a lot of time yesterday kind of going through the specifics around Medicaid funding and how the ACA works and the subsidies. And we know, facts before dark, facts at dusk. We know specifically, right, that the ACA tax credit extensions, right, the exemptions for the ACA, by law, are not eligible for people unless you're a citizen. We also know that Medicaid funding is not again, unless you're a citizen, you're not eligible for it. The argument that the right wants to make is that because funding through Medicaid, Medicare goes to pay bills of people who don't have insurance, some of the people involved in that would be people who are undocumented. So you could make the argument that sure, but that's not the claims that they're making. The claims that they're making is they want to extend healthcare coverage to undocumented individuals, and that's just flat out not true. It is just absolutely not true. And they're and you know how desperate they are, right? You know how desperate they are to try to convince their base that this is that is the case by using things like violating the Hatch Act. like having big red signs on government websites saying the radical left did this. No, the radical left is attempting to protect the American citizens' health care. That's what the radical left is doing. Okay? So the president, again, trying to spin his way out of this. We're going to get into the jobs report a little bit as well because the government is shut down today. We don't know if we're going to get traditional BLS numbers. We've got ADP numbers that are horrible, absolutely horrible, as we trend down because our president told us that he was the jobs maker, but that's not true. So this was an interview a day and a half ago from the Oval Office, press corps pressing the president on the claims that he's made. So here you are. Notice there's a non-answer here.
Documented immigrants.
We actually do have time for that.
They're not eligible for the health care subsidies that Democrats are demanding. So can
Correct.
you clarify, what are you talking about when you say Democrats want to protect their health care?
So when an illegal person comes in, a person who came into our country illegally, therefore breaking the law, and look, we all have big hearts. I have a bigger heart than you do. They're all breaking the law, and they're coming into our country. And we just, as a country, cannot afford to take care of millions of people who have broken the law coming in. We want them to come into our country, but we want them to come in legally. Now we have a strong border, very strong border.
No answer.
Undocumented immigrants.
Again, not a fucking non-answer. Because he can't, because again, he's too stupid to know any better, right? But we know the law. We know the law because we went through the law. We know what the ACA exchange marketplace requirements are. You have to be a citizen. We know how Medicaid, Medicare works. We know that states can use their own funds if they want to cover people. We understand that. We know that Medicaid has exceptions for people who are pregnant. God forbid that we would protect pregnant persons and children. Again, the Christians out there who are so dedicated to preserving life, so focused on making sure that they're looking out for children, who don't give a fuck if pregnant persons bleed out, women bleed out in operating rooms and in lobbies. They don't give a fuck if kids starve. So instead, they'll just lie to people so that they can execute various elements of Project 2025. Yeah. Do you guys remember? I'll just play this for you because I think it's kind of crazy. You guys remember out on the campaign trail when the president did everything he could to try to run from Project 2025? Well, the problem is when you have the tape, let me just see if I can find the right sound because there's so many things here. Here we go. We started to see, this thing called Project 2025. It's been this, the mandate for leadership, as they call it. The Heritage Foundation has been pushing this thing for years. They offered it up in the first Trump administration. There were elements that they used then. There were people that were appointed to various positions throughout his government who are connected to Project 2025. They made the claim that they wanted to work with the Biden administration to accept it. Biden administration is like, no, that's the fascist handbook. No thanks. So then the president's out on the campaign trail trying to distance himself from it.
I don't know what the hell it is. It's Project 25. He's involved in Project. And then they read some of the things and they are extreme. I mean, they're seriously extreme. But I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. Okay. I'm not going to read it.
Okay. This
was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas. I guess some good, some bad.
Ooh.
But it makes no difference. I have nothing to.
I don't know what the hell it is. It's
okay. That's good to know. But here's the problem with that. The truth that he posted on July 5th of 2024. I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who's behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. This posted yesterday. I have a meeting today with Russ Vought, he of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are a political scam, he recommends to be cut, and whether or not those cuts will be temporary or permanent. I can't believe the radical left Democrats gave me this unprecedented opportunity. Think about that statement for a second. They are not stupid people, so maybe this is their way of wanting to quietly and quickly make America great again, President DJT. I can't believe the radical left, again, the claim that the Democrats shut down the government because of illegal, giving insurance to illegals, as they like to say, when in fact, Democrats are attempting to protect U.S. citizens' healthcare access and to make sure that rural hospitals don't close. So the president is using that to say this: I can't believe the radical left Democrats gave me this unprecedented opportunity to fire tens of thousands federal workers under the premise that they are a political scam, and many Democrat agencies. They are federal agencies. They're not Democrat agencies. The question then becomes, well, it's not a question. It's confirmation that unless you are loyal to the president's agenda, that you have no place to serve in our government. Okay? So that's what's happening. We have a Project 2025 tracker. There's a website. It is called project2025.observer. It's the Project 2025 tracker. I'll send it to the mods, and we can put it in the Discord for you. In the Project 2025 tracker, it breaks down all the government agencies that they've wanted to go after. So personnel is the Office of Management and Budget. Personnel is the agency that Russ Vought, the person that President Trump just said, I have a meeting today with Russ Vought, that guy, he's in charge of the Office of Management and Budget. You'll hear it referred to as OMB. Okay? So part of Project 2025, well, first of all, the tracker, the Project 2025 tracker goes through various elements of Project 2025. And on the website, they break it down by category from all the government agencies, from HUD to DOE to DOD to OMB, personnel. So far, under Project 2025, they've been tracking the progress of various elements connected to it, instituting a hiring freeze. That's in Project 2025. That was completed on day one of his presidency through executive order. Rescind Biden's executive order 14003, which revoked Trump's Schedule F order. That's been completed. What is Schedule F, you asked? I wanted to make sure I got it right, so I looked it up for you. Schedule F was a new classification within the federal civil service. It applied to federal employees in confidential, policy determining, policy making, or policy advocating positions. Employees placed into Schedule F would lose many of the civil service job protections that normally make it hard to fire career government workers. The Trump administration argued it was necessary to make it easier to remove career officials who they believed resisted or undermined the president's policies. Critics, including unions and good government groups, said it would allow political purges of the civil service and replace long-standing nonpartisan staff with loyalists. So they rescinded. So first administration, Trump tried to impose this. Biden came back and said, no, this is ridiculous because civil servants are just that, civil servants, career civil servants. We've discussed this before. Civil servants in our government are nonpartisan. They may have a political affiliation, but they serve the government. They've served under Republican presidents, Democratic presidents, conservative agendas, liberal agendas. Their job, they make the sausage. Like, everybody likes sausage, but nobody likes to see how it's made. They make the fucking sausage. Just like the moderates in Congress, people who don't want any attention, we don't even know their names. They're the ones that are usually the ones that are most robust in passing legislation. Civil servants are there to do a job. Okay? So Schedule F, what Russ Vought from the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025, the director of the OMB, wants Schedule F so that he can fire people easily. Okay? So that's what's happening in regard to Schedule F. That's what it means. Personnel decision, again, completed on January 20th, 2025. They rescinded President Biden's executive order, which revoked Trump's Schedule F order. Okay? So President Biden protected civil employees. President Trump, under direction from OMB, rescinded that to make it easier to fire federal employees, which is where we're at now. Also, in progress. They mark them completed, in progress, not started. Here's another one. Reduce federal employees' pay and benefits. Also, weaken federal employee unions. Also, reschedule thousands of federal civil workers, making it easier to fire career civil servants. Again, Schedule F. And institute pay for performance for top-tier federal government employees. So it's like, for people who still believe that he had nothing to do with Project 2025, if that were the case, then why is the playbook 50% completed already, the entire Project 2025? And why is it that we have dozens of other examples? So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about Project 2025 today and this meeting with Russ Vought, because the expectation is that tens of thousands of federal workers will lose their jobs. Instead of being furloughed, which has been the case in the past, those that are expected to either work without pay or not work, not be paid, but be able to recoup some of the money that they've lost through repayment once the government is not shut down. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. We're gonna uncover another little story here that is probably going underreported. Let me see if I can. Let me play this first. Hold on a second. Sorry. Always girl dad. It's diabolical for many reasons. It's diabolical to use the excuse that they're using to try to blame it on brown people, to say the Democrats are responsible for funding illegals' health insurance. And we just know it's not true. I'm using illegals because that's the word that they use. Undocumented. Okay? In an attempt to justify firing people, career civil servants who kept our government running, who were there during the transition periods from one administration to another, the traditional peaceful transfer of power. So it's like, what the fuck are we doing? And why are people cheering for this? We told people, again, we were right about all of it. We told people this is a Project 2025 agenda. Nobody bothered to listen. Here we are again. Exactly. They serve us. They serve all of us. They're the ones that are responsible for administering benefits or making sure that we've got, protections for various things in place. Whatever that might be. I think the federal government employs like a few 100,000 workers nationwide, and we're talking about a 30 to 40% potential reduction in force. And under what premise? Under what premise? To do what? They want to claim waste, fraud, and abuse, but they're not telling us it's waste, fraud, and abuse. They're telling us that they're Democratic agencies. What's the quote again? What did he say? Oh, hold on. Yeah, the daughter overslept. Every Friday she seems to oversleep. He said this. And this tells you everything you need to know, because it's never been about waste, fraud, and abuse. They want to tell you that. It's more about, we're just going to go after government agencies. I have a meeting today with Russ Vought, he of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are a political scam, he recommends to be cut, and whether or not those cuts will be temporary or permanent. It's got nothing to do with waste, fraud, and abuse. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just they want a government of loyalists. Okay? They want a government of loyalists. That's it. I need to address something with the daughter. So give me a second. I'm going to play some sound for you from Nick Fuentes. This is interesting because this is Nick Fuentes. This is not related to what we were just talking about, but I'll just play this for you anyway because I think it's interesting.
And now he says, if you're not on board with the Epstein, you're a weakling. Fuck you. You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are. You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. And the liberals were right. The MAGA supporters were had. They were. When we look back in history, we will see Trump as a scam artist who served as a vehicle for this rather than the other way around. We were not the vehicle for Trump. Trump was the vehicle for all of us. Your supporters stuck with you through everything. Stormy Daniels, the Steele dossier, the impeachments, the insurrection. I mean, his supporters stuck with him through everything, even his failures. He says they will never learn. It's like, hey, dumbass, your supporters stuck by you through everything. What do you mean? They didn't fall for all that stuff. This is real, and now people are mad.
So, yeah. So when you agree with MTG and Candace Owens and now Nick Fuentes a little bit, then what fucking universe do we live in? So, anyway, yes. The daughter just informed me that there's a party this evening. I got no notice that there's a party tonight, but we'll discuss it later. Okay, so I share all these kinds of things because this is exactly what the administration told their voters that they wanted, but not to this extreme, right? Not to this extreme. And we know that just because of the amount of people within the circle that are fracturing, that are breaking, that are leaving the movement, the generals, that literally the virtual and, the figurative and literal flipping of the bird. So there's been some reporting post this particular meeting about, the military's reaction. So I managed to get some quotes from many people who are veterans. Veterans react to Hegseth and Trump's insulting addresses to the generals and admirals. The defense secretary speech, along with Trump's remarks touching on physical fitness and doctrine of lethality, was seen as egotistical and dangerous. Quote, a lot of words that are coming to me aren't fit to print. The people in that room who've served for 20, 30 plus years in uniform do not need Pete Hegseth to tell them about the warrior ethos. That's from Naveed Shah, a veteran and an activist. Quote, he claimed the military needs to return to the male standard in combat jobs of 1990. But here's the truth. There has never been a separate male and female standard. When women entered combat roles, one standard was set, and we've been meeting it ever since. You can either do your job or you can't, period. Amy McGrath, retired Marine pilot and former Senate candidate. Quote, basically, he's saying that we're no better than the H group because people are joining because they want to break things and they want to unalive people. I mean, for anyone, that's been in the military. He's not qualified to be Secretary of Defense. He's barely qualified to be a host on Fox News. Tamara Stevens, former Navy cryptology technician, on Hegseth's discussion of lethality. Quote, he talked about the previous commander-in-chief, President Biden, and then talked about the enemy within. That is a dangerous, slippery slope to be referring to that to the leaders of the U.S. military. Very dangerous. They see right through it. So, it's like that meeting, and we discussed this a little bit yesterday. Let me just reset the gift goal here. We discussed this a little bit yesterday. The people in that room, the people that were summoned to go to the White House or to go to Quantico for that meeting, they don't need a sort of celebratory rallying moment. They know how to do their job. They know what they're supposed to do. They understand UCMJ very, very well. They understand the rules of engagement. They were embarrassed. They were just disgusted, disgusted by what they saw. And this is the thing that gets me, right? The misconception that conservatives are supportive of the military. It's just not true. It's just not true because of what they vote, because of how they vote, because of the things that they tolerate, because of how they've been told for years that the president was just kidding when he called uniformed officers and enlisted, suckers and losers. What was in it for them? I don't want to see a disabled vet because it makes me look bad. not, John McCain, not a war hero. I prefer my heroes not to get captured, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm asking the host, but if you're still serving, you should know to follow the rules. To follow what rules? You don't have to obey an illegal order. Those are the rules, right? So again, this is, I want people to I don't want us to forget about this story because of the impact that it has on all of us. Now, the expectation is the president coming out making statements that we're going to use American cities as test grounds. For what? For test grounds for what? We don't fight wars the way that we used to, the way that Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump wants to fight wars. We don't fight wars that way anymore. So what are we going to be doing? What are we going to be testing? What are we going to be rolling up on the Chick-fil-A in New Orleans? What are we testing? And this is what I mean about conservatives, you pro-military folk. How dare you be cheering something like this on? How dare you? How dare you be okay with violations of posse comitatus? How dare you? You free speech defenders of freedom, you states' rights clowns, even you libertarians. Where the fuck are you guys standing up against this bullshit? Where the fuck are you? You should be first in line saying this is fucking nonsense. And for those of you who believe why you have your 2A, then why the fuck aren't you out there? Pushing back against a tyrannical government. You can't possibly support this. Because if you do, then you're hypocrites. If you support anything like this, at all, then you're a hypocrite. Did your sons and daughters and non-binary individuals sign up as to be a member of the military so that they could roam the streets of Detroit and Memphis and New Orleans? This should make you so fucking angry. This should make you angry. Now you, conservatives, MAGA, I'm talking to you specifically. This should make you really fucking angry. In fact, you should be more angry than the rest of us are. Just because what you have claimed to stand for years. Lies about every city. Lies about Portland. The Portland Chief of Police. Do I still have that queued up here? I might. Yeah, this is the Portland Chief of Police. Oh, they took it down. Huh, interesting. The Portland Chief of Police said, listen, this is one block. This is one block in our city that's 145 square miles. It's one block. We don't need the National Guard here. We don't need ICE agents running around our city. We don't need any of it. We don't need it. That's right. It's instilling fear into people. Instill fear into people? Do what? You're okay with that? Uncooperative? You want the United States military running, so then you're a traitor too. I got you guys. It's just tell us. Just change your profile to say I'm a traitor and I'm proud, because that would just be easier. It's just fear mongering in an attempt to distract. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. For anybody to think of this as just normal and that you're cheering this on, for what? Why don't you, parents, MAGA parents of your sons and daughters and non-binary individuals in the U.S. military, next time you talk to them, ask them, hey, if you get deployed to an American city, are you cool with that? And if they say no, what are you going to call them? What are you going to call them? Seriously, you're going to call them a traitor? They're actually abiding by their oath, is to preserve and protect defend the Constitution. Just because the president says radical leftists like me are threats, that Antifa is a terrorist organization. By the way, we located the Antifa headquarters. Yeah, it's on the coast of France, under numerous beautiful white tombstones. That's the Antifa HQ right there. Right? You want to challenge that, MAGA? You want to walk up to a World War II veteran World War I veteran in general, and tell them that, and laugh at them because they are the original Antifa? Seriously, we're all these people right here, all these individuals, all these heroes, all these defenders of freedom and democracy. Every single one of them is Antifa. Every single one of them. Every single one of them are Antifa. And this is the HQ. Do you want to walk around as their family is there, remembering them, placing flowers at their graves, and tell them that they're radical leftists and that they're a threat to democracy? I dare you. I dare you to do it. I dare you to walk to Arlington and find the tombstones of individuals who served in World War II and see their family members there and walk up to them and say, oh, your hero is Antifa. It's disingenuous? Really? Disingenuous. Right. Interesting. Go ahead. Go ahead and do it then.
Why are you even bothering?
Oh,
Linda,
because
how are you?
Fine. There was just two things I'm not sure if you've seen on the news. One was the FBI and ICE raided an apartment in Chicago. They used chainsaws to break down the fence, and then they busted down all of the doors in the entire apartment complex, took everyone outside in their pajamas because it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and then zip-tied everyone, old people, children, everyone, and then they ran their names through their computers to see if any were undocumented or if they had any warrants out on them.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And
yeah.
then
that's what's happened now. Exactly.
And they were saying that they were propelling out of Blackhawks out of the sky into the apartment.
Yep. Heard that too.
And then the other thing was Trump posted an AI video of himself in a band with JD
Don't Fear
Vance.
the Reaper with JD Vance.
Yeah.
Yep. And Russ Vought. Yep. Saw that too.
And that Vaughn was the Reaper and that he
Correct.
was going and he had
Correct. Yeah, we saw those. Yeah, well, they changed the lyrics, but
so I wasn't
anyway.
sure how many people had heard, and the imagery was like
Scary.
very disconcerting.
Exactly. Exactly. Thanks for jumping in, Linda. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here today. Be safe out there, okay? Thanks a lot. I appreciate you. Sorry about that. Again, I'm just watching the comments scroll by. I dare you to go to Arlington Cemetery. I dare you. I dare you to go to any cemetery and find the name of any member of the United States military who served in World War II. And go there on Memorial Day or go there on Veterans Day. And as their family is kneeling at their tombstone, adorning it with flowers and bunting and whatever else, I dare you to walk up to them and say, yeah, you guys are a threat. You guys are a threat to democracy because you fought against fascists in Germany. I dare you to do it. You won't. You certainly won't do it. You won't. Bring a picnic lunch and walk around here and tell them the same. You won't do it. There's no way in hell that you would ever do that because you're cowards. And you've been told for years that people who oppose fascism and authoritarianism, which is exactly what we have now in our government, got to stop talking about it in terms of it's on the rise. It's fucking here. And you so-called patriots claim to be pro-Constitution? Pro-America? And you think Antifa is an organization? Tell me who the leader of Antifa is. Could be me today. Could be somebody else tomorrow. Could be somebody else the day after. So we keep moving around, so you don't know where we are. Antifa. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. Do you think they're radical left lunatics? Do you think they're a threat to democracy? You think that they're a terrorist organization? You think that they're the enemy from within? Good luck with that. That's all I can tell you. Good luck with that. Fairy Dust, you might want to request again. Looks like you timed out, friend. I'll bring it right back up. I was in the UK over the summer, just north of London. And it was on Memorial Day and happened to be driving by an American cemetery. And there was a ceremony celebrating those people. B-17 came flying overhead. Were all those people threats to democracy? Were all those people the enemy from within? Were all those people, the radical left lunatics, a terrorist organization? I'm fucking Antifa. Does that make me a threat? Because why? Because I want people to have health care, kids to be fed, women to have rights to their body, expanded access to education. Okay. I guess I'll own that. No problem. Happy to. Happy to own that. Hey, Fairy Dust, how are you?
Good morning. I just wanted to make sure that the information coming out of Chicago was accurate. I'm in Chicago, and there were no Black Hawks that they were jumping from the sky or whatever that lady just said. It definitely wasn't that. That was all ICE. It was decided that they were going to break down doors on, which is like the east side of our city, closest to the lake, which is predominantly Black. There may have been some Hispanic individuals who live over there, but for the most part, it's Black. The way our city is, I hate to say it like this, it's segregated. Anybody who's been in Chicago, they know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there are certain areas where certain people live at, and that ain't the area. So what they end up doing was they were using our neighborhood as a way to basically figure out how to do like a mass raid type of situation. So that was like a few days ago. And then yesterday they started going into the Hispanic neighborhood. So yesterday they were in, I think they were in like Little Village or something like that. So people in Chicago, like Chicago is like Chicago, and then in Chicago we have sub neighborhoods throughout the city. And that's where now they're figuring out that Hispanic people in Chicago live in certain areas. So ICE now is going to those specific areas. But what they're doing is they're not just going to those areas, they're also going to the Black areas as well. And they're doing this very, very bizarre thing. And they are arresting Black residents for random stuff, which they don't even have the authority to do so, so I don't even understand what the heck is going on. And they're saying they're holding them for CPD to come and arrest them, which is not their job. Everybody knows that.
No, it's not.
So, it's a scary situation here. I know we always talking about do something when we're on this platform. If you all have the opportunity to do so, contact the Chicago Marathon or the people who are over the Chicago Marathon and urge them not to come. I emailed them a few weeks ago to tell them that it just wasn't safe for international runners to come, and it's not. Also, if you all can get in contact with your state and local representatives and have them to go on media blitzes while the government is shut down to let them know, educate the public, tell them exactly what's going on, why the system is shut down, show the evidence, and we need local and national news. I left a message for Hakeem Jeffries. I always tell people that's my boyfriend, but he don't know he's my boyfriend because I call him so much. So But you all should be doing the same thing. Just stay on top of these people. Do not hesitate to call. I call Chuck Schumer all the time, cussing and yelling and screaming on the phone. But if you all could do me a solid and call the Chicago Marathon and tell them do not come, that'd be awesome for me.
I love that. Thank you, Ferry, for literally on the street reporting. I appreciate you very much for being here, friend. Love you. Be safe out there, okay?
Yes, will do. Bye, guys.
See you later. It's good. It's good advice, right? So again, we have news that's flying a million miles an hour, and I saw some imagery of Blackhawks. So we just got to be careful. So I would just ask people that before we come up and share something, let's just kind of vet it first, right? Let's make sure that we've got everything accurate, because we can't be hypocritical to the things that we discuss here about making sure that we're not leaning in too early. Like I said, I would rather be last and right than first and wrong. So yeah. Okay, a couple of quick thank yous. Hang on a second. Michelle, thank you for your 5. I appreciate you so very, very much. Love you, friend. Also, thank you to Carol and on the Blue app, and thank you to Sarah. Have a great Friday. Thank you for everything, Sarah. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Let me just adjust this really quick. Thank you. Okay. So this is not normal. Right? The United States military being put in this position because of a delusional fucking madman and an unqualified fuck that's Pete Hegseth. Okay, I've got some sound from Hegseth that is disturbing, right? I mean, it's one thing, the speech, but this is him talking about government schools and the Christian nationalist takeover of our country. This is him. This is from 2022, okay? This is the person now in charge of the War Department. The Christian nationalist, the predator, the multi-time adulterer, the alleged kidnapper, right? So this is him. This is what he had to say, and this is par for the course, though, to be a cabinet member.
I think the first step is realizing the depth of the problem, retreating out of government schools, and creating our own ecosystem of classical Christian schools that reflect the values, the virtues, and the learning that's required to keep us free. I know the challenges that brings. I know the financial challenges, the geographic challenges, but there are more options today than ever before. There are more classical Christian schools in Texas than any other state in the country. There's over 400 across the country. They're way more affordable than most private schools, certainly elite schools. They have scholarship programs. There's homeschooling options. There's online curriculum options. I say, sell the boat and get a second job. What's more important than the future opportunity of your kids and grandkids? And I don't say that lightly, because I understand the financial constraints. And I know for some people that can't do it, you're going to fight all day long in that public school, and you should. And you should. If you got to do that, do it. But the progressives knew that it's hard to undo 40 hours of indoctrination during the week with 1 hour on Sunday and 1 hour on Wednesday night. And they wrote about that too.
There it is.
Well, that's good advice. And again, I can't encourage people enough to get the book, Battle for the American Mind.
There it is. Right. There it is. First of all, the 40 hours of indoctrination. No, what's a school day? 6 hours. There's a reason why conservatives, Christian nationalists like Pete, there's a reason that they do not want your children educated. Because smart people, hold on.
Smart people don't like me.
That's why. Because as you gain education, as you become smarter, you become more liberal. That's not indoctrination. That's just exposure to the truth. It's easy to fool someone who's stupid. Super easy. It is super easy to fool someone who's stupid. And speaking of that, it feels like that's the case every day. So for Pete Hegseth to say, sell your boat, do what you got to do, we question things. That's what we should do. And the conservative right does not want that to happen. They do not want people to think critically. In fact, that's not what the church doesn't want that either. because their entire lie is based on a series of beliefs, period. No evidence. Believe what you want. I'm not judging that. But the indoctrination comes from the church. The indoctrination comes from forcing someone's religion on someone. That's true indoctrination. Which is part of the reason, again, they don't want to fund education. It's part of the reason, again, that they're making threats to colleges and universities under the premise of waste, fraud, abuse, under the premise of, anti-American sentiment, under the premise of radicalizing, institutionalizing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's all they fucking care about. They do not want their voters educated. They just don't. Part of the reason the Department of Education is gutting federal programs. It's not just because they want to punish families who've got special needs kids. It's because they want public schools to close. They want public schools to close. This is my opinion and my opinion alone. They want public schools to close, especially in large urban centers, because we know in large urban centers, the bulk of those voters tend to vote Democrat. Okay? So they don't want people in those communities, primarily marginalized communities, primarily Black and Latino communities. Let's call it what it is. They don't want those communities to be educated so that they can twist their minds and hopefully develop a new crop of conservative voters. Strictly my opinion. It's more than just wanting to, turn our public education system into another, cash machine for corporations who own private schools. They don't give a fuck. They don't care about education. They don't care about school choice. They don't give a shit about any of it. They just want to try to find a way to make some money. And if they can manipulate the minds of young people by not providing education for them, then they'll do that too. We're going to make it so incredibly difficult. We're going to cut funding for after school, for Head Start programs. We don't want to pay for school lunches or school breakfasts. We want to cut funding for aftercare programs. We don't want to extend protections for parents like FMLA and maternity leave, all those kinds of things, making it impossible for parents to even have any thought of pursuing something outside of the mandated private schools and charter schools, et cetera. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. This is what they want. This is what they want. They want a stupid electorate. So people won't look past the headline. Then they can use...
Smart people don't like me.
Then they can use their messaging. They can use their rhetoric. They can use their headlines. They can use fear. Cool, we've got them dumb. Okay, so now let's manipulate them even more. Let's remind them again that brown people are the threat. Let's remind them again that Black people are the threat. Let's remind them again that it's the queer people, that it's the disabled people, that it's any marginalized group, that it's women. Women are the threat. All the Jezebels out there are all the threat. Meanwhile, the people cashing the fucking checks, sitting around laughing, sitting around mocking the people that they just convinced to believe them, and they enrich themselves. It's diabolical. And people on the right just refuse to see it. Because what? You're just going to pray it away? You'll get an awakening someday. You'll get an awakening. So back to HUD, or the federal agencies violating the Hatch Act. Mike Johnson's been pressed about this shit, and Mike is under pressure. Listen, I want to address this real quick. There was a video that went viral of a young man claiming that he had receipts from Mike Johnson having a profile on Grindr. That he had receipts, that he had text messages, that he had all kinds of evidence. I've not been able to find anything other than that video. You guys might know Tizzy Ent. Tizzy featured it on his Instagram page. That gentleman's video has been taken down on TikTok. He had talked about this in terms of, I've let people know, I've let law enforcement agencies know in case something happens to me. So I don't know what's happened, and I've been reluctant to speak about it. So as is the case in our community, we only report on what we know and talk about what we know. So what we know was there was a video posted, a person claiming that they had the receipts, a person claiming that there was a Grindr profile. I don't give a fuck what you do in your private life, Mike. I really don't care. But don't be a hypocrite if it's true, obviously. So I don't know. I don't know what this is. I'm just here to provide that information for you. I'm not saying one way or another the evidence is real or not. It's not corroborated. I've not found any supporting information connected to this story other than that video. Okay? That's it. That's all I know. Whether it's a grift, I don't know. I'm not saying one way or another. I'm just reporting on the news. Mike Johnson's under pressure for lots of reasons, right? And he's starting to show cracks. I don't know if it's related to any of this, but he's getting a lot of pressure from his own base and from his own party as to why you have not confirmed Rep-elect Grijalva. She should have been confirmed by now. Is it just a coincidence that she happens to be the 218th vote? Maybe. Don't know. So he was asked this question about the blatant violations of the Hatch Act. Let me just change his background real quick. He was asked basically like the story we shared earlier about blatant violations of government agencies with the Hatch Act becoming political, right? So he's asked this question. His answer is just interesting. He's stuck because he knows it. Mike Johnson's a constitutional lawyer. He fucking knows that these things are violations of the Hatch Act. Again, in case you're just joining us, what we're talking about is this. Government agencies making claims about the radical left in Congress, that's a violation of the Hatch Act. It's a blatant violation. To the letter of the law, it's a blatant violation of the Hatch Act. Happening is Mike Johnson's being pressed on this, and this is his answer.
HUD had on its agency webpage blaming radical Democrats, which is not an appropriate use of taxpayer money being overtly political. It's something we haven't seen before.
I think what the HUD website says is the objective truth that we're telling you right now. There are 44 Democrats in the Senate, and by the way, every Democrat in the House except one who voted to shut the government down. They are the ones that made that decision. The White House, the executive.
That's not the question that was asked, Mike. That's not the question that was asked. Whether you think it's true when you know it's not. When you got another restriction, guys, if you don't mind, keep tapping and clicking and sharing and gifting if you wouldn't mind. It helps us push back against the restriction. What that restriction does. Because I appeal them always, and I usually win, but that suppresses the live being pushed out to the FYP. So to counter that, we need the live to be active, right? By gifting, by commenting, by sharing, by liking like crazy. That's why I ask for that, because it's necessary so that we can get back out to the FYP, okay? So again, Mike Johnson knows that this is a violation of the Hatch Act. So for him to say, well, it's true. So here's the question again. Then it comes to taxpayer dollars, right?
HUD had on its agency webpage blaming radical Democrats, which is not an appropriate use of taxpayer money being overtly political. It's something we haven't seen before.
I think what the HUD website says is the objective truth that we're telling you right now. There are 44 Democrats in the Senate, and by the way, every Democrat in the House except one who voted to shut the government down. They are the ones that made that decision. The White House, the executive branch, take no pleasure in this. But when they are...
the White House and the legislative branch take no pleasure in this? My guy. The twice impeached, 4-time indicted, sexually abusing, fraudster, convicted felon, name on a list, fucking predator, is meeting with Russ Vought today to fire federal employees. It was the plan all along. So yeah, so when Russ and Trump sit around the cauldron with Batwing and Eye of Newt, standing around naked, painting each other's bodies with fucking pentagons, they're getting off on it. Question is, when are you going to join the party, Mike?
Tasked with determining what their priorities are. Obviously, they're going to follow their principles and priorities and not the other team. That's the results of an election that everybody voted in, the popular election and electoral college.
In addition,
pentagrams, yes, by the way, and yes, most witches are liberal. My apologies. A pentagram, not a pentagon. But yes, you got the point.
HUD had on its agency webpage.
Again, it's a violation of the Hatch Act. Mike Johnson fucking knows it. Mike Johnson is not stupid. Mike Johnson is a Christian nationalist. Mike Johnson is a theocrat. He does not want a separation of church and state. He wants church and state to be one under the Seven Mountain Mandate, for example. He doesn't give a fuck about the separation of church and state. He's willing to lie through his teeth and then go pray the lie away later as he and his son are working on being each other's corn advisors. Yeah, that's true. So he'll just do whatever the fuck he has to do. He will lie no matter what. No matter what. He will fucking lie to get the theocratic agenda that he wants. Period. That's it. That's it. It's a flat out fucking lie about the reason the government is shut down. It's a flat out lie that HUD is posting things that are correct. It's a flat out lie. The Democrats want to give $1.5 trillion to illegals. It's a lie. It's a bold-faced lie. They know it. We know it. The people who don't are the ignorant base that he's speaking to. The people who claim to be patriots don't give a fuck. Those same people, by and large, are the ones that are going to be impacted the most. They are. They're the ones that are going to be harmed the most. Rural hospitals closing. Rural hospitals. Red states that are already upside down, can't afford to pay their own bills, rely on blue states. You know, the communist haven that is California. People in Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas couldn't pay your bills without California. So if I was Gavin Newsom, I'd be like, can I have my money back now, please? If you don't need it, can we have it back? Cool. And then we'll guarantee universal access to healthcare for everybody. The expectation that the red states, because that's in the big, beautiful bill, as far as SNAP benefits goes, because you guys didn't read it. See, I read it. Not all of it, but that particular section, because I wanted to be informed on it. It talks about how, no, we're not gutting SNAP. We're just going to ask states to pick up the slack now. It's the first time it's ever happened. It's never happened before. The first time. Last time I checked, there's a lot of poverty in red states. Last time I checked, the bulk of Medicaid, Medicare recipients on a state-by-state basis goes to red states. So you guys understand, I would think about this scenario. You're poor, like millions of others Americans. I'm not admonishing you for being poor. I'm just trying to remind you of what's happened here. You're poor. You rely on federal subsidies. You're able-bodied. You're working. You're one of tens of millions of Americans who are stuck in that limbo. I don't make enough money to pay for insurance on my own. I'm too poor to qualify for some benefits. I'm in the middle. I work my ass off. I'm still eligible for Medicaid, Medicare. I paid into the system. It's my money. You are in a red state. You're taking advantage of a system that's built and designed to work for you. You also you might be a single mom, single dad, doing the best you can, trying to feed your kids. You rely on SNAP to feed your kids. SNAP money now that comes from the federal government up until the big, beautiful bill was signed. Now your state that already can't pay the bills, your state that already relies, the benefits that you've been receiving have come because of blue states. You get that because of blue states, because blue states are what's referred to as a donor state, which means they pay more into the federal government than they get in return. The counter, our red states, pay less into the federal government than they get in return, which means they are recipient states. Okay? So now you're getting these benefits because of the system. Now, these same red states, that same scenario I just described to you, MAGA voter, your SNAP money goes away. Who the fuck are you going to blame? Who are you going to blame? You're going to be Joe Biden? You're going to blame the Democrats? That's what the right wants you to think. You're not going to get your WIC funding, women, infants, and children, that's under pressure because of the government shutdown. I believe it's only funded until the end of the year. You don't care? You don't care about that? Who are you going to blame? You voted for this shit. people on the left, people who are progressive, people who are liberals, people who are moderate Democrats, we care more about your day-to-day than you do. We care more about feeding your children than you do. We care more about your access to health care than you do. We care more about your ability to afford to live so that you're not out on the street. We care more than you do. We do. Because of the way in which we vote. Because of the things which we care for. You voted again. You literally voted. You voted to take food out of the mouths of your children. That's what you voted for. How many times have we had these conversations in this space about what does the right care about? I only care about my own family. That's what conservatives vote for. Conservatives vote for the me. Liberals vote for the we. Left-leaning people tend to vote for the betterment of everybody because we believe that all boats rise. And the right says, I don't give a fuck about everybody else. I care about my own family, my own welfare, my own food. So you voted against that. You voted for yourself. And that's just unfortunate. I see you chirping in the chat, but you don't want to come up and talk. But that's fine. That's pretty typical. Okay, we're going to move into this. I've got a few more things that will play as it connects to this, the government shutdown. And once again, just to level set on the facts here, what the Democrats had asked for was that we continue the ACA tax credits. They're not available for undocumented people. They are only available for citizens, right? Only available for citizens. It reduced the cost for people who are on the ACA, these subsidies, but between 80 and 90%. There's a model that a family who makes $50,000 a year, they pay on average $3,000 a year through their health care after subsidies because of the ACA. That number is going to spike to anywhere between $12,000 and $15,000 a year because that goes away. Last time I checked, there are conservatives, Trump voters, who are on the ACA. Okay? Last time I checked, there are conservative Trump voters who get Medicaid, Medicare. Last time I checked, there are Trump voters who use rural hospitals. Last time I checked, there are conservative voters who use food stamps. So, why would you vote against that? Because you were told illegals get it? Is that why? Is that the reason why? Who do you want to blame other than yourself? Do you just want to sit in your little space and just continue to try to point at others for this problem just because you see a big sign on the HUD website or you hear Caroline Levitt talking about it? You're going to believe that? Maybe you should consider reading the actual bill that you guys brag so much about as opposed to the headlines. That's just a thought. So this is, speaking of Caroline, the way in which she says things, and I don't know, again, she's been media trained, right? She's been media trained. Just the way in which she says things, I don't know if she thinks them through. Just here you go.
What Russ Vought is working diligently on is examining how we can fix this mess to ensure that critical funding continues, that we can get people paid. But the Democrats are making that very difficult. And that's why the president put out a statement this morning saying that we're going to start looking across the board at layoffs and at agencies that we feel do not best serve the American taxpayer that may need to be halted or permanently cut.
So on that, I wanted to ask you about that because he mentioned Russ Vought in that. I think that came out about 8 o'clock this morning about cutting certain programs that they deem are not necessary. Is that real or is that a negotiating tactic?
Oh, it's very real. And the Democrats should know that they put the White House and the president in this position. And if they don't want further harm on their constituents back home, then they need to reopen the government.
If they don't want harm on their constituents back home, they need to reopen the government. last time I checked, the President of the United States is not just the president of people who support him. The president of everyone. The president's words, again, the statement that he made on Lie Social. I have a meeting today with Russ Vought, he of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies. So what's a Democrat agency? Somebody want to tell me what a Democrat agency is. What agency in the federal government is a Democrat agency? Is the Department of Defense a Democrat agency? I mean, I think Democrats probably work in the Department of Defense, right? Department of Commerce, HUD, Department of Education is a Democrat agency? Really? Biden didn't have one shutdown, not one. The last two shutdowns have been under Trump, the longest in our nation's history under Trump. Social Security is a Democrat agency? Is that right? Department of Labor? By the way, we're not going to get the job statistics. We're going to talk about that in just a second because, again, all that winning, if all that winning means losing, then we're winning. Meeting today to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are a political scam, he recommends to be cut. I can't believe the radical left Democrats gave me this unprecedented opportunity. In other words, I can fire people at will. For what? Cause? You guys just want to throw this out there. Look at our friend Chase here. Nice. Chase doesn't have many friends. Somebody want to explain that to me, MAGA? Are you okay with this? Because again, retribution. So the next administration, since you guys seem to be fine with using or making terminations based on political affiliation, right? So the next time that a Democrat takes over the White House, which will be soon, the next election, and they'd say, we're going to get rid of all the Republican agencies. We're going to shut down the government. We're going to fire everybody that's ever voted for MAGA. Anybody that's ever voted Republican. Anybody that wears red. All done. Of course, you wouldn't be okay with that. Which is why we call out your fucking bullshit. Don't believe the lies. Because last time I checked, there's no such thing as a Democrat agency. So now let's talk about the Department of Education. It's another one of those Democrat agencies, apparently. Another one of those, I'm the liar? Okay. I'm the liar. Be curious about this. Use your social security number. You're probably trolling, but I sent you an invite. You probably won't accept it because you can't defend your claim. You called me a liar. What am I lying about? Let's have the conversation. You won't. Appreciate you. The Department of Education, one of the many, again, apparently Democrat agencies that are identified in Project 2025. So again, we have the Project 2025 tracker. You can sort it by agency. So let's go to the Department of Education. And let's talk about what is featured and highlighted in the Department of Education. And again, we'll go through the exercise of what's been accomplished so far. Roll back student loan forgiveness and income-driven repayment plans. Check. That was in Project 2025. Cease investing in Title VI disparate impact cases, effectively achieved by closing most civil rights offices. Staff say it will be virtually impossible to resolve discrimination complaints. Check. Rescind Biden-era Title IX rules that strengthen the ability to prosecute sexual assault and discrimination cases. Check. Expand school choice, public funding for private schools. Trump signed an executive order to increase federal support for school choice programs, reconciliation bills, including private school tax credits. Check. Issues rules guidance that Sex is a properly understood as a fixed biological fact. Check. Rescinded Biden area guidance that added a non-binary option in civil rights data collected from schools. Achieved by issuing an executive order declaring it a federal policy that there are only two genders, male and female. Check. And abandoned the redefinition of sex to sexual orientation and gender identity in Title IX. Trump issued an executive order directing the Education Department to eliminate federal funding for schools promoting indoctrination, it's in the EO, based on gender ideology and discriminatory equity ideology. DEIA stuff. Check. Those are just a few. That's in Project 2025. So you want to tell us again that the Trump administration is not following the edict of Project 2025? Is it just new? Was the president just stupid? Or was he lying to you? Or is it both? It's fucking dangerous. These are the things that we talk about this in terms of what's happening right now. But a lot of this stuff, the damage is going to be done. Right? The damage is going to be done. We already know public education is under threat. Grossly underfunded. And you guys know what I want. I want to overfund the shit out of it. I want the Department of Education. I want public schools, K through 12, to be swimming in cash. To have so much fucking money, they can have the most spectacular schools, the best programs, the most highly regarded education system in the fucking world. That's what I want. That's not what conservatives want. They certainly don't want that. It's not what Christian nationalists want. They told us that. I want teachers, exactly. I want teachers paid like doctors. I want the best of the best. I want teachers from around the world desperate to want to come to the United States because of the education system that we have here. The public education system. All the people that want to continually go after teachers in the public education system, most of them have Ivy League educations. Most of them were indoctrinated in these liberal colleges and institutions. So there's reporting from this came out yesterday. This is reported by the New York Times. Actually, before we do that, let me just talk about the job numbers real quick, and I'll go right back to the story. So because the government is shut down, we would normally get the BLS numbers. It's like the first Friday of a new month is when you get the Bureau of Labor Statistics job numbers. We already know there's been so much shakeup, right? We know that the president got all up in his shit because he didn't like the fact that we were losing jobs. Well, ADP came out with job numbers because they had to, because no one else was reporting on it. So this is the story.
We did just get the ADP jobs data, and the number is down 32,000 jobs in the month of September versus an expectation of a gain of 50,000 jobs for the month of September. So worse than expected. Markets were down going into the number and remained lower. We did just.
Oh, that's Fox News reporting on it. That's not good. When you got Fox having to tell the truth about the job numbers, I don't know how that's going to work. I've got a little bit more data for you. Let me see if I can find the right clip. Everybody keep tapping and clapping and sharing and caring, please. Appreciate y'all very much. Don't forget, we are crowdfunded here. You want to support the channel? Please do so. You can find all the various things at Factsstillmatter. Do I still have that? Here we go. So this is a breakdown of that insanely bad job number.
Not good. Negative 32,000 is the headline number for ADP, which is obviously the worst in quite some time. Goods producing jobs down by 3,000 within that category. Construction off by 5,000. People have been waiting for that.
Wait, construction, like manufacturing jobs. That was the promise from the big guy. We continue to lose manufacturing jobs. Construction jobs in particular. Gee, I wonder if that had anything to do with rounding up hardworking people who are here to try to make things better for their family and just send them away. Maybe.
Manufacturing down by 2,000. 28,000 service industry jobs, ADP says, were lost. 19,000 in leisure and hospitality, and professional and business services down 13,000. The only real positive category is...
Oh, hold on.
Contraction, not good. Negative 32, manufacturing down by 2,000. 28,000 service industry jobs, ADP says, were lost.
Wow, when you're a service industry economy and a consumption economy, to be losing that many jobs in that sector, ooh, that's bad.
18,000 in leisure and hospitality, and professional and business services down 13,000.
Oh,
the only real positive category is education and health services, which is always the big hiring place.
Of course.
33,000 on the month. As far as pay insights, median change in annual pay for job stayers was up 4.5%. If you change jobs, you got a 6.5% raise, they said. So this is where we are. Oh, and last month, by the way, revised down to a 3,000 negative job print instead of 54,000. You know, if we had these numbers and then we're getting non-farm payrolls on Friday, you'd see a lot of people maybe starting to change their forecasts for Friday and lower them, because this is not a good number. And we have seen ADP, as Lisa was saying, get a little bit closer to the overall numbers on a month-by-month release basis.
Oh, no, MAGA. That sucks. And again, that sucks for all of us. It's not just radical libs, you know, Antifa, you know, the radical left, the enemy from within. It's not just us losing jobs. It's you too. They talked about the sectors: construction, manufacturing, hospitality, service sector, all those things. The only growth, which we always see, is in healthcare. Without the growth, you know, and I wonder why that is. Geez, interesting. The only growth that we see in healthcare, we see growth in healthcare, thankfully, other than that numbers would be worse. And yes, they revised the August numbers down, another 3,000. We're losing jobs. Inflation is up. Unemployment is up. We're losing jobs. We're losing jobs. But yeah, it's okay to send $20 billion to bail out Argentina. It's okay to send more billions of dollars to Israel. It's okay to do all those kinds of things. It's totally fine that the president is enriching himself, he and his family, on the Qatari investment into World Liberty Financial, while granting the Qatari royal family access to NVIDIA chips. That's totally fine, right? That's completely fine. Nothing to see here. You're right. Totally, you're right. It's all about consolidation of power. That's what the entire game is. How then do we continue to enrich ourselves? Okay, so back to the story I wanted to talk about education, because I think this is really interesting, because there's a counter to this. Trump administration asks colleges to sign a compact to get funding preference. Demands were sent to 9 top schools, including pledging to freeze tuition for 5 years and to commit to strict definitions of gender. The White House yesterday sent letters to 9 of the nation's top public and private universities, urging campus leaders to pledge support for President Trump's political agenda to help ensure access to federal research funds. And don't forget, personal to me, because federal research funds go to a lot of colleges and universities. Those colleges and universities have some of the best labs and research programs anywhere in the world, and a lot of treatments for various diseases like, I don't know, childhood cancer come from these colleges and universities. So unless you align with our hateful rhetoric and our anti-American bullshit to use transphobia, homophobia, bigotry, and whatever else, we're going to cut off the funding. And last time I checked, cancer doesn't give a fuck who you vote for. Debilitating diseases don't care who your political ideology. Communicable diseases don't give a fuck if you're red or blue. Just saying. The letters came attached to a 10-page compact that serves as a sort of priority statement for the administration's educational goals, the most comprehensive accounting to date of what Mr. Trump aims to achieve from an unparalleled months-long pressure campaign on academia. The compact would require colleges to freeze tuition for 5 years, cap the enrollment of international students, and commit to strict definitions of gender. Among other steps, universities would also be required to change their governance structures to prohibit anything that would, quote, punish, belittle, and even spark violence against conservative ideas. This is reported by the New York Times. I'll pop this in the Discord. Hang on a second. Colleges that sign the agreement would receive multiple positive benefits, according to a letter included with the compact signed by Linda McMahon, Vince Haley, the director of the White House Domestic Policy Council, and May Mailman, the White House's senior advisor for special projects. Colleges that agree would get priority access to federal funds and looser restraints on overhead costs. Signed compacts would also serve as assurances to the government that schools are complying with civil rights laws, even though they're changing the civil rights laws on the fly. Federal civil rights investigations have been used to halt much of the research funding that the administration has blocked so far this year. Again, research funding. Research funding. You understand that one of the arguments that they used was, well, they're testing things on transgender mice, right? That was the whole thing that Elon Musk said, even though I think it was transgenic. I forget what the actual term was, but one of the reasons that you do laboratory testing, one of the reasons that you invest so much money on these testing protocols is to create cures for things, treatment protocols. That's where a lot of the solutions that we have to some of the diseases that would exist without this funding. Transgenic, thank you. Yes. So like, why? Why the fuck are we doing this? Somebody explain it. Why would we cut funding for research programs? Do you think that there's too much money spent? Okay, we can have that policy debate. But why the fuck would it be just saying, unless you sign this letter in blood, you're going to lose your funding? Why the fuck would we do that? Why? Make it make sense. Good morning, Larry. How are you today?
Hey, Steve. Good morning. And I love Rage Against the Machine, by the way. So I just had a question. So, well, not a question. I'm gonna make a statement. I just read an NBC poll that was conducted right before the first, and it was conducted on Republicans and more specifically those that identify as MAGA. So 59% of Republicans agreed with the premium tax credits on the ACA.
Correct.
57% of MAGA agrees with the premium tax credits on the ACA. So they're not even listening to their own people.
Of course not. Well, they don't care because, again, to get what they want, they have to lie to their base.
Right. So I just thought that was interesting that some of the people know what's going on and they don't like it, but they're going to keep supporting it. So make it make sense. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, Larry. You're right, brother. It doesn't. Thanks for jumping in today. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Talk to you later. All right. You got it, man. He's right. I mean, we've done this exercise before. You can poll on a variety of things. And by the way, there's new polling from the Washington Post that it's 60% of Americans polled believe that Republicans in Congress and the president are responsible for the shutdown. So, like, their own people are telling them, which is why the right is so desperate to post, Republicans in Congress are so desperate to post things on the HUD website, for example, instead of the radical left, because they know, they understand, they see it, they get it. It's just wild to me. Okay, so let me go back to this story. Letters were sent on Wednesday to the University of Arizona, Brown University, Dartmouth College, MIT, University of Pennsylvania, University of Southern California, which, by the way, I was literally filling out an application with my daughter last night for USC, University of Texas, Vanderbilt University, and the University of Virginia. University of Texas, quote, the University of Texas system is honored that our flagship, University of Texas at Austin, has been named as one of only 9 institutions in the U.S. selected by the Trump administration for potential funding advantages rules under its new compact for academic excellence in higher education. What a bullshit fucking statement that is. We enthusiastically look forward to engaging with university officials and reviewing the compact immediately. The other 8 schools declined to comment, did not immediately, or said they were still studying the compact. Let me before I get into part 2 of this, because I want to finish the story, just a little bit more sound from Mike Johnson. I'll take a quick little break here. A little bit more sound from Mike Johnson, again, being called out on his lies.
The Democratic proposal is designed to prevent millions of Americans from losing their health insurance, losing Medicaid coverage, or paying higher health care premiums. Why are you against that?
That's an absurd statement, what you said there. Let's be clear about what happened last night, George. No, George, let me tell you what happened last night. Everybody can go and review the facts for themselves. 44 Senate Democrats, nonpartisan continuing funding resolution to keep the United States government open. The Democrats said instead that they wanted to give health care to illegal aliens instead of keeping critical services provided for the American citizens. That's what happened, plain and simple. Every Democrat in the House, except one, voted against the clean continuing resolution. It was nonpartisan in nature. There are no policy writers on it that Republicans march. But they've changed their tune. They changed their tune because Chuck Schumer is having political problems right now. That's just a simple fact, and everybody knows it. He's trying to outrun the far left portion of his base, so he's decided to inflict pain on the American people.
So not
true. Here are
That's the
facts.
reality of what we're facing.
Here are the facts. The proposal does not provide health care for illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants cannot buy health care under the Affordable Care Act. They cannot receive health care subsidies.
No.
Illegal immigrants are ineligible for Medicare, Medicaid, and the Children's Health Program. The Democratic bill does not make them eligible.
So again, those are the truth. And Mike Johnson's going to sit there and shake his head. Not true, George. Not true, George. It is true. It is true. Okay. So, and this is related, as far as I'm concerned. This is related to what we're talking about for the education. The cuts, this compact that they want to sign. It's all related. They're going to use that to try to justify cutting funding for grant programs. And again, the last time I checked, cancer, communicable diseases, diabetes, heart disease, doesn't give a fuck who you vote for. So once again, radical leftists, progressives, liberals, Democrats, this message is to you, MAGA. We care more about your health than you do. We care more about your future than you do. We care more about your well-being, your life, your liberty, your pursuit of happiness than you do. We care more about your life expectancy than you do. We care more about you coming down with a preventable disease because of funding being cut than you do. How can they straight lie like that? Well, that's the question. Okay, so back to this story, because it's telling, and there's a counter. And the counter comes from Gavin Newsom. We'll get to that in just a second. The letters also prompted concern about the precedent of signing on to such agreements, which could put universities in a difficult position if they are found to be in non-compliance or if the terms of the agreement changes. Today it's these things, said Ted Mitchell, president of the American Council on Education, who served in the Obama administration. Next week, it may be a whole new set. This is a power play, and it's designed to divide the higher education community. No shit. He described the threat of revoking funding as, quote, the biggest waiver of institutional protections that I've ever seen, saying the compact seemed to gut long-standing legal safeguards. Quote, I hope that this just hits the ground with a thud, Mr. Mitchell said. I hope institutions do not sign this compact. I do not think it's in the best interest individually and collectively. It's a horrible precedent to cede power to the federal government. Ms. Mailman, who has orchestrated much of the Trump administration's higher education strategy, said the compact could ultimately be extended to all colleges and universities. She said the administration was open to hearing feedback about the compact from college leaders. Quote, we hope all universities ultimately are able to have a conversation with us. All universities. All of them. that use federal grant money to not only, again, I'm literally in the process of filling out FAFSA, going through the exercise last night. If you're a parent of college-age kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's fucking painful. It's painful. Thankfully, my daughter is likely to gonna get a bunch of scholarships, knock wood. She's busted her ass and she's smart. Okay? She cares about education. We have these conversations. She knows what we're walking into, right? What people are, again, MAGA. Some of your kids are likely going to want to go to college. Some of your kids want to pursue higher education. Are you going to tell them that they can't? Many of you will. Many of you will say, if you want to go to them damn indoctrination factories, and I ain't going to pay for it. I don't have the money to pay for it anyway, because I'm still just the assistant manager in training at the fucking Waffle House. But damn, I ain't going to pay for that shit. You want to tell your kid that? You want to tell them that? It's their life, isn't it? It's their life. And now, unless colleges and universities comply with the federal government's demand about gender ideology, are you fucking kidding me? The administration has secured, we hope all universities ultimately are able to have a conversation with us. We hope. That is a veiled threat. Unless colleges and universities have conversations with us. Because they are looking for ways to seize power and thus capital. They don't want to fund student loan programs, Pell Grants, etc. They don't. This is scary. I mean, this is real life for my family right now. Where's the money going to come from? I've got some money saved from all my kids. I mean, that's how it worked. It's not a lot. It'll cover a year, depending on where she goes to school. If federal funding goes away for student loan programs because colleges are not complying, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? This should scare people. Post-secondary has failed millions of Americans, and you want to double down? What, Jake? Post-secondary has failed millions of Americans? What does that even mean, Jake? Please come in the box, because I think you're really confused. Post-secondary has failed millions of Americans? You sound like you must be a Charlie Kirk fan. That's what it is. That's what it is. Yep, gotcha. But isn't that the right of the individual in our country? Isn't that the right? Shouldn't we all have that right? Aren't you for individual freedoms and individual liberties? Aren't you for the ability for people to make up their own mind, to free think? Here's the problem with that, Jake. We know that people who complete college degrees earn more money. They contribute more to society. They live a happier and more enriched life. Now, if you want to have a conversation about lowering the cost of colleges and universities, sign me the fuck up. Sign me the fuck up for that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Because I think, personally, Jake, that state schools, colleges and universities should be free for its residents. That's what I think. That would be public education overhaul. That's what I believe. Private, do what you want. Don't give a shit. But public, let's have that conversation. But but the conservatives, it was apparently a bridge too far for conservatives to forgive student loan debt. But yet, we're totally fine with giving $20 billion to Argentina or hundreds of millions of dollars to fund Donald Trump's golf trips. But God, we can't, Jesus, you know what? Trump's golfing outings, billions of dollars to Israel, billions of dollars to Argentina. That's over here. Everybody good? Cool. The counter? Oh, the counter would be feeding kids in school or helping fund public education. No, we're not going to fucking do that. We'll just print money and give it to Israel. We'll just print money and give it to Trump for golf outings. We'll just print money and bail out Argentina's economy. Sweet. The letters were sent as the White House was aiming to close a settlement with Harvard the only university to sue the Trump administration over its pressure campaign. Mr. Trump on Tuesday said that a deal, which had been elusive as talks had stalled, was close. The Wall Street Journal first reported the compact has been sent to schools. The administration has secured individual deals with schools to restore funding, requiring universities to pay steep fines and effectively adopt new policies. And while there was some overlap in the agreements, the first round of deals has all stood on their own. The University of Pennsylvania agreed to align its athletic policies with the Trump administration's beliefs about participation by transgender people. Brown University promised to provide a more granular level of student admission data than is required by law. The so-called Compact for Academic Excellence in Higher Education is effectively a declaration of the administration's political priorities for higher education. This is like PragerU on steroids, basically. The first round of schools received the compact along with a letter that frames the pledge as an opportunity to proactively partner with the administration and its efforts to shift the ideological tilt of higher education system, which the president and his team view as hostile to conservatives and intent on perpetuating liberalism. Give me a fucking break. Colleges are liberal because liberal just means you are open to other ideas. Proud liberal, proud member of Antifa, even though I'm a progressive. Okay? Think about what that statement says. Donald Trump went to the Wharton School of Business and University of Pennsylvania. Members of the Senate, some of the names that you know, had their JDs from Harvard Law, Yale Law School, some of the best colleges and universities in America. Those same people. Mike Johnson is not a Rhodes Scholar, but he's got his JD, his law degree. Exactly. Israel has free fucking healthcare. They have free healthcare. And the people that are going to these colleges and universities, the ones that benefited in life because of the education that they received from these liberal indoctrination factories, are the ones that are supporting this compact. Institutions of higher education are free to develop models and values other than those below if the institution elects to forego federal benefits. So unless you do what we say, I say fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Unless you do what we say and you shift the entire, think about the big picture here, guys, right? The big picture is this. They want these colleges and universities to sign on to this compact, okay? Under the pressure of being denied federal funding, okay? That's what they want. That's the argument they're making right now. That's the tip of the spear. Big picture is they want education taught through a conservative, AKA Christian lens. Which is why, think about big picture. Think about what they want to do at museums. Remember the statement that, what's her name? The new U.S. attorney in Virginia. Well, we can't talk about slavery unless we talk about hope and progress too. Which is why they don't want discussions regarding slavery and or other things. They want to whitewash history. They want to whitewash public education. They don't want your kids to be educated. They don't want they want the next generation to be the Charlie Kirkers. They want people to believe that education's a scam, that you don't need it, that you shouldn't be exposed to the truth, that every time somebody goes to a college and university, they become radicalized. Megyn Kelly, right after the Charlie Kirk assassination, said, he went to a college and university, he became radical. Megyn Kelly, multiple degrees, including her JD. Was she radicalized? This is the game. This is what fascists do. This is what autocrats do. This is what theocrats do. They go for the systems themselves in an attempt to completely change society under the image of God. That's what they want. This is the goal. So where do fascists start? They go after the press. They go after the liberals, because those are the people that would speak out against it, because they're the ones that are informed. Okay, So Gavin Newsom responded because one of the colleges on that list, University of Southern California, and other California institutions, California Governor Newsom hit back Wednesday. If any California university signs this radical agreement, they'll lose billions in state funding, including California grants, instantly. California will not bankroll schools that sell out their students, their professors, their researchers, and surrender academic freedom. Newsom said that through his press office. The compact was sent to 9 universities, including the University of Southern California, and the Trump administration has indicated that will be available to more schools in the future. To join, universities would need to change several aspects of their institutions, including hiring and admissions. The Trump administration also wants schools to commit to reforms for a vibrant marketplace of ideas. Any school that signs a 10-point memo titled The Compact for Academic Excellence in Higher Education would receive preferential treatment in federal funding for grants. Violation has been detected. End live now to avoid suspension. I don't even know what that is. Whatever. If we get suspended, you guys know where we'll be. So again, that's Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, saying, listen, any California, if you go by these rules, if you bend the knee to the president, then you're going to lose your state funding. That's it. And quite frankly, I'm glad he's doing that. I'm glad he's doing that. What choice does he have? What choice does he have? If you want to bend the fucking knee, if you want to bend the knee to the fascist authoritarian approach to public education, then in our state, thank you, Equities, I appreciate it. In our state, thank you, Sam, then you're going to lose your state funding too. This is real. That literally going through the application for USC last night. Okay? Going through the application. And I'm like, fuck. And I'm talking to my daughter about it. It's like, I don't know what to expect, but you're going to apply and you're going to get in because you're fucking smart and you busted your ass. And they're going to be lucky to have you. And I'll miss you, but I want you to go. This is real, right? This is real. And I've said this before publicly and I'll say it again. My daughter is alive today because of federal funding to research programs in colleges and universities across the country to develop her treatment plan for cancer. She had a 50% survival rate the second time it recurred. That treatment plan was developed through federal funding for pediatric cancer research. If that money was not available, 50% under perfect conditions. If that money was not available, she just turned 18 on the 30th of September. 50-50 odds. 50-50 under perfect conditions. Yeah, she could be dead. Millions of other families dealing with the exact same thing. Millions of other families dealing with the exact same thing. Again, people on the left vote and care more about situations that came up for my family than MAGA families do about their own. I don't want your kids to be faced with a terminal illness and have funds cut to help develop a cure. I want money available to make that happen. We have to have research. We have to have investments in science. We have to have institutions of higher learning, giving people the ability to think critically. We have to have it. You want to compete in the world? You've got to develop people who know how to think. College is too expensive. We can all agree. Totally agree with you. Completely agree. That's why. If I was Gerald McGrew and I ran the zoo, state colleges and universities for in-state students would be free. Would be free. Why put that burden on people? You want to go to a private school? It's on your dime. Apply for loans, go run the gamut. Or if you want to have a compromise to say, okay, then we'll maybe not state universities, but how about community colleges? Fine. I'm willing to have that compromise. Why the fuck do we need to be sending $20 billion to Argentina? Why do we continue to fund the regime led by a fucking war criminal, Bibi Netanyahu? By the way, none of the ships made it through. None of the flotilla made it through at last check. Humanitarian aid. We're supporting that. But yeah, we can't fund public education. It's diabolical. All it does is harm people. That's it. That's it. That's it. Massachusetts is a free community college. I know a lot of states do. Massachusetts also has some of the highest education outcomes in the country. They are the model for how to do it. Do you want to know why it's so successful in Massachusetts and in Minnesota and other states, Rhode Island, Vermont? It's because they fucking invest. Now, I live in a little state. Our property taxes are crazy here, but it's easy for me, and I'm happy to do it. Happy to do it because it's important. It's important. It's important. What are the things that should matter to you? We've discussed this many times in this space. And again, you guys are the smartest chat in TikTok, and you know this. Our country prioritizes money and corporations. That's what we prioritize here. Other countries around the world don't. Some of the most successful democracies don't. They invest in their citizenry. They invest in their humans. They invest in their children. I was just texting yesterday about Finland. The Scandinavian countries. They know, they get it. They're like, listen, we want to have the best education systems in the world. If you really want to fantasize about what an education system could look like, look at Scandinavian countries. Look at Denmark. Look at Finland. Look at Iceland. Look at all the countries in Scandinavia. Look what their education system is. Now they're talking about shortening the workday to 4 days a week. That's been studied. I was part of, when I was working in corporate America, I was invited with people similar positions across the country. I was invited by a lot of companies who were Fortune 100 companies. I represented the company I worked for. Went to Chicago for this meeting, and I'm engaged in the room, and I was literally one of the minority of people that supported the idea of a 4-day work week. And I came prepared how other countries have done this and how they saw improved productivity, improved efficiency, less absence from work because people felt like they could live their lives and not have to worry about everything else. It wasn't even a 10-hour day. It was a 9-hour workday, 4 days a week. Paid for 40 though. The productivity increases were exponential, but no, not in America, not in corporate America. Got to crack the whip. You got to be at your desk 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. It's ridiculous. Why? To what end? Why the fuck do we prioritize the military-industrial complex? And we have people like Artanis, typical lib, no morals, and even encouraging others to disavow their oath. Did you serve, coward? Just going to sit down in the chat and chirp. Probably. Seriously though, why? That's the question I've been asking a lot lately. Why are we cutting funding for school lunch programs? Why do we want rural hospitals to close? Why do we want to continue to give tax breaks to the rich? Why do we want democratic institutions to be completely shuttered? Why do we want tens of thousands of federal employees to lose their jobs? Why do we want rural hospitals to close? Why? Why do we want to kick millions of people off of health insurance? Why? The answer's obvious, right? It's because that's what authoritarians do. That's what Christian nationalists in our country do. When you're led by Christian nationalists who claim to be pro-life, this is what you get. Speaking of pro-life, I'm not sure if you saw this, but Pope Leo, very interesting. It's funny. It's weird hearing the Pope talk with a Chicago accent. I haven't gotten used to that yet, but he's right. Okay? He's right. Listen to what he had to say, in case you haven't heard this already.
Someone who says I'm against abortion but says I'm in favor of the death penalty is not really pro-life. So someone who says that I'm against abortion but I'm in agreement with the inhuman treatment of immigrants who are in the United States. I don't know if that's pro-life. So they're very complex issues. Someone who says I'm against abortion, but says I'm in.
He's right. He's right. I just saw a headline come down from breaking news here. The United States Supreme Court has agreed to take a case that could allow more guns in malls and restaurants. Cool. Supreme Court agreed just this morning to decide if states may bar people from carrying guns on private property without permission from the property owner, wading into a thorny Second Amendment dispute that could expand carry rights in malls, restaurants, and stores. Great. Super fun. It is the first major Second Amendment case the High Court has agreed to hear in more than a year. The court granted 5 new cases on Friday as it builds out a new term that will begin on Monday and run through June. The term is shaping up to be one of enormous consequence, with cases dealing with executive power during President Trump's second term, transgender rights, and the future prospects of a landmark civil rights era law to protect minority voters, also potentially birthright citizenship. Hawaii enacted the gun law in 2023 in response to the Supreme Court's landmark ruling a year earlier that made it easier for Americans to obtain carry permits. That decision struck down a New York law that required residents to show proper cause to carry a handgun. Previously, the state's laws allowed someone with a permit to carry their handgun into a store, for instance, unless the property owner explicitly prohibited it. The new law flipped that around and required unambiguous written or verbal authorization. It also barred the carrying of guns on beaches and in parks, as well as bars and restaurants that serve alcohol. 3 gun owners who hold carry permits sued, along with a gun rights group claiming that the new law and an appeals court decision upholding it rendered illusory the right for the people to carry in public. 5 states, Hawaii, California, Maryland, New Jersey, and New York, enacted similar restrictions, according to President Trump's administration, which urged the Supreme Court to hear the case. Those 5 states, by the way, near the bottom when it comes to gun rights, or when it comes to homicides and firearm deaths. Again, what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? Political violence running rampant. People are angry. People are just like ready to, because of the direction of the president. People who are in opposition to the government are deemed threats. And now we want to make it easier and give people more opportunity to carry firearms? More? Especially in the states that don't even have background checks, other than, well, again, we know that every state doesn't have the same. Yeah, states' rights. That's wild. That's gonna extend beyond states' rights, though. If the Supreme Court's weighing in, this is going to be something that could be federal. Exactly. Keep the temperature high, add fuel to it. Recipe for disaster. What the fuck? So we just got some reporting from Victoria that, our friend Matt has been down there, USM's Angry Sea and Laney and Jolly. Apparently they tore down the veterans tent that's been set up at Union Station in DC. Great. What the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? We've got colleges and universities expected to bend the knee, extend that potentially to every single college and university, right? And now we've got people wanting to be able to gain access to bring their firearms wherever the fuck they want, even if the building owner says no. Even if the building owner says, no, private property, you can't have it here. Tough shit, I'm doing it anyway. And what's that going to lead to? That's going to lead to confrontations. It's going to lead to violence. It's going to lead to more targeting. So fucked up. Makes me so fucking angry. Should make all of us angry. All right, I want to talk about this other story that's been that has been circulating. It's primarily because of the statements that the president has made, and he's made over and over again. I'm going to give you some context. One of the things that we hear from the White House a lot is about these trillions of dollars that have been invested into the into the U.S. Treasury or invested into America. I'm going to find the sound first from the president because it's important to play that one first. Hang on one sec. Okay, so this is the president taking questions off topic, but it's related to the story I want to share with you guys.
What does it say about the state of the Democrat Party when they have a 33% favorability rating on average in recent months, and they're willing to shut down the government over health care?
They are shutting it down. We're not shutting it down. We don't want it to shut down because we have the greatest period of time ever. I told you, we have $17 trillion being invested. So the last person that...
Remember that number, okay? Caroline Levitt.
All hitting new record highs. In fact, the S&P 500 is up nearly 15%, and the NASDAQ is up more than 21% since Election Day. As part of President Trump's mission to restore America as the manufacturing superpower of the world, he has secured nearly $9
Thank you, Doug Raiders. Appreciate you guys.
trillion in U.S. investment, nearly 9 times more than Biden attracted in his entire 4-year term. And we expect that number to be upwards of $15 trillion very soon.
Okay, so the number is $17 trillion. So the president has gone on record saying numerous times that he's received investments of $17 trillion. Interesting, because where's the money? So this is reported from the Midas Touch. So did Donald Trump steal $17 trillion? That's the question at the heart of a new investigation Democrats are launching in Congress. In an interview conducted with Robert Garcia, the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Garcia confirmed what we have been reporting. Trump's outlandish claim that he brought in $17 trillion from tariffs and foreign investments has no basis in fact and no trace whatsoever in the United States Treasury. Trump himself boasts almost daily at rallies, press conferences, etc., interviews, even in official remarks. He claims that in just 8 months, he brought in more than $17 trillion, a sum that would amount to nearly 2/3 of the entire U.S. economy. For perspective, America's GDP annually is roughly $27 trillion. If Trump's numbers were true, the federal government would not be facing a shutdown, a ballooning deficit, or rising costs for working families. Quite the opposite. America would be in an unprecedented surplus, able to fund universal health care, wipe out student debt, rebuild our schools, and cut taxes for the middle class. Trump would be able to make it rain. Whoosh. Checks for every American, a real golden age. But as Congressman Garcia and his oversight colleagues made clear, there is no $17 trillion. Treasury has no record of it, not even close. The budget committees have not seen it. The appropriations committees have not seen it. The finance committees in both chambers have not seen it. The money simply does not exist. That leaves us with two possibilities. Either Donald Trump is once again lying through his teeth, inventing economic victories to distract from his failures, or he has hidden vast sums of money in a way that bypassed the entire federal government. As Garcia stated, quote, Donald Trump is either a liar or he has stashed away some money somewhere in some magical way, and there's even more corruption happening. So which is it, Donald? Garcia did not rule out the need for an immediate congressional investigation. In fact, he suggested it may be inevitable. If this keeps going, we're going to have to investigate where the hell the $17 trillion is. Because this is ridiculous. Republicans claim there's not enough money for healthcare subsidies, food, SNAP, Medicaid, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then on the other hand, they say they're stashing the money away, giving it to their billionaire friends, doing all these tax breaks, the increasing exponentially the national debt. The timing of these revelations could not be more critical. In the middle of a government shutdown triggered by Trump and his MAGA allies, federal workers are being sent home without pay, families are bracing for higher healthcare costs, grocery prices continue to climb, and yet Trump wants us to believe there's a hidden treasure chest of $17 trillion that he somehow conjured up? If that money were real, as Garcia pointed out, it could immediately reopen the government, stabilize the economy, deliver relief to millions of Americans. Instead, the reality is deficits and debt. The most recent fiscal year closed with a $2 trillion deficit. Thanks, Donald. And last month alone, the government ran a $345 billion shortfall. Those are real numbers. not Trump's imaginary windfall. What makes the situation even more outrageous is that Republicans on the Oversight Committee, led by Chairman James Comer, appear utterly uninterested in asking the obvious question: where is the $17 trillion? If their job is oversight, then oversight of such a staggering claim should be their top priority. Instead, they're wasting taxpayer dollars chasing conspiracy theories about Joe Biden while ignoring what could be the largest financial scandal in U.S. history. What about Biden? What about Biden's $50,000? What about Hunter's picture? What about Hunter's cock? That's their real interest. Garcia emphasized that Democrats on the committee will not let this go. He connected Trump's false claims about trillions of dollars to the broader pattern of corruption surrounding this White House, his obsession with gold-plated additions to the People's House, his shady foreign entanglements, his habit of funneling taxpayer resources into personal projects, and his refusal to release documents connected to the Epstein case. All of it, Garcia argued, adds up to a presidency consumed by lies, cover-ups, corruptions, etc. For the American people, the implications are enormous. If Trump is lying, it's another brazen example of disinformation meant to keep his base riled up while distracting from the pain his policies are inflicting on working families. If, however, Trump has in fact concealed trillions of dollars, then we are dealing with corruption on a scale that would dwarf every scandal in modern American history, times 10. Either way, an investigation is not just warranted, it is urgent. As was told to Congressman Garcia at the end of the interview, it's refreshing to finally see Democrats in positions of power willing to fight back and demand the truth. Oversight isn't about scoring partisan points. It's about protecting the American people and safeguarding our democracy from corruption. Whether it comes in the form of missing trillions or golden ballrooms funded by foreign governments. The bottom line is simple. Donald Trump must be forced to answer where this $17 trillion went, or admit once and for all that it never existed. Either outcome reveals what we've always known. Trump is unfit to lead, a fraud who treats the presidency like his personal slush fund, period. The dumb Dems do the same thing? What? Dems do the same thing? Do you just sit in your space, Linda, and just say, Dems do the same thing? What? Are you being facetious? What are you talking about? Again, we want the truth, right? It's not that hard. Caroline Levitt told us so. She told us there's $17 trillion. She told us that. Donald Trump told us that. He did. Let me find the sound again. He told us. He told us there's $17 trillion. I must have got rid of it. Maybe I didn't. He told us. I watched the wrong news. What news, Joe? Can you come up and talk to me about that? What news am I watching, Joe? I'm reporting on the news. Do you not agree? Do you not? He told us that there's $17 trillion. Caroline Levitt said the same thing.
And the NASDAQ is up more than 21% since Election Day. As part of President Trump's mission to restore America as the manufacturing superpower of the world, he has secured.
Well, even though we're losing manufacturing jobs, cool.
Nearly $9 trillion in U.S. investment, nearly 9 times more than Biden attracted in his entire 4-year term. And we expect that number to be upwards of $15 trillion very soon.
Got it. So that's good. I mean, that's good to know. I'm so glad that we're looking out for the American taxpayer. Where's the money? Where is it? Where's the money? Jobs aren't a direct indicator of growth. Linda, can you please request? Jobs aren't an indicator of growth. Okay. That's wild. Hi, Jillian. How are you? Jillian, are you there? Jillian. Thank you for tapping. I appreciate you very much. I'm assuming that's what you were doing. Where's the money? Where's the 17 trillion? Hi, Patty. How are you today? Patty? Where's the money? It's pretty simple, right? It's pretty simple. All I want to do is find some money. 17 trillion. This is what I want people to understand. Like, if you're making that claim, right? Let's assume it's true for a second. Let's assume it's true. Let's assume that he has secured $17 trillion in investments. Let's assume that that's the case. Where is it? Where is it? Where is the money? Why does the Treasury not have it? Why does the Commerce Department not have it? If that's true and it's there, then where is it? Because otherwise, it's just another fucking lie. Nothing to see here, apparently. Nothing to see. Yeah, again, this is the statement. Here we go. This is the statement.
What does it say about the state of the Democrat Party when they have a 33% favorability rating on average in recent months, and they're willing to shut down the government over healthcare?
They are shutting it down. We're not shutting it down. We don't want it to shut down because
yes,
we have the greatest period of time ever.
No, we don't.
I told you, we have $17 trillion being invested. So the last person that wants to...
Okay. 17 trillion. New Jersey's about to flip red. Okay, right. Linda, you're chirping from the chat. Either request or move on. Okay. New Jersey's not going to turn red because the person who's running for governor of New Jersey wants to segregate schools again. So good luck with that. But if that's what you want, Linda, then yeah. Where's the money, Linda? Where's the money? I got something in my glasses. Sorry. Doing the work. Hold on. Better. Where's the money? Where's the $17 trillion? Where is it? Where's the money? Because he's either got it and he's hiding it or he's lying again. Okay. So trigger warnings for our next section that I want to get into, because we are not going to forget about the Epstein list. We're not. Okay? We're not going to let that story squirrel away, because everything that they're doing here is an attempt to shift focus away from what's really happening. That Donald Trump is on the list and that his entire political machine is attempting to protect him. Otherwise, Rep-elect Grijalva would have already been sworn into Congress. There were 2 Republicans that were sworn in pro forma, like within hours, and then James Walkinshaw, who won the seat in Virginia, was sworn in the next day. Miss Grijalva, who won the seat that her father used to have, is the 218th vote to force the vote. They know that. Okay? They know that. But I want to remind people that there's more to the story than the things that we talk about every single day. There's the voices of the survivors. I believe women. Okay? I believe women. And if we as a society, actually, let me just change the background because it's relevant. If we as a society just did that in general, we'd have a lot less problems for one. And if we did, on the whole, then women would not be intimidated to tell their stories because they would be believed. So I believe women. And I want to say that because I'm going to play some sound from Katie Johnson. Katie Johnson is a pseudonym and an alias used because of the volatility of this case. I'm going to play her sound. I'm also going to play some text from the lawsuit that was filed. It's pretty intense, so trigger warnings now. So I'll say that in advance. It's pretty intense, but it's necessary because we need to tell their stories, especially when we know that herself and her family were threatened, which is why the lawsuit didn't continue. So first, the sound. Okay, this is the voice you'll hear is Katie Johnson. Again, it's an alias. Okay, so this is the voice that you'll hear. And her story is
Donald.
Well, I'll let her words speak for themselves.
Trump had specifically asked about me because I remind him of his daughter. And she said, well, she's 13 as well. So he knew the first time that he saw me. But he comes over mad because I was crying. And he said that I should be thankful that someone like Donald Trump took my virginity. He basically didn't say took my virginity. He said, I should be glad that someone like Donald Trump popped my cherry and not some pimply little 14-year-old. And I just was like, what if I said, what if I get pregnant? Not even talking to him. I didn't want to talk to him. I was talking to Tiffany. And he said, well, you'll get an abortion then, bitch. And then just walked away.
Why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but
Donald Trump had specifically asked about.
So again, if you're a survivor and you're in here, please, if you feel like you need to scroll away, please do. But again, this person goes under the pseudonym and or alias Katie Johnson. So I'm about to read to you some elements from the lawsuit. It's heavy shit, so I will give you a minute if you decide you want to scroll away. We're here to report this story because I believe women, survivor stories need to be told. And the details connected to this case are that her family was threatened. Her family was threatened. Herself and her family were threatened with death, according to them. And I will choose to believe them. And that's why the case was dropped. Okay? So, this is pretty graphic. I'm going to do my best to try to read through this without using as much of the graphic language that's in here. But we have to talk about it. The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, alleges that defendants DJT and JE did willfully and with extreme malice violate her civil rights under 18 U.S. Code 2241 by schmexually and physically abusing plaintiff Johnson, by forcing her to engage in various perverted and or depraved schmex acts, and by threatening her physical harm to plaintiff Johnson and also to her family. The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, alleges that defendants Trump and JE also did willfully and with extreme malice violate her civil rights under 42 U.S. Code 1985 by conspiring to deny plaintiff Johnson her civil rights by making her their schmex slave. The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, alleges that she was subject to extreme sexual and physical abuse by the defendants, Donald J. Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, including forcible rape during a 4-month time span covering the months of June through September 1994, when plaintiff Johnson was still only a minor, age 13. The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, alleges she was enticed by promises of money and a modeling career to attend a series of underage schmex parties held at the New York City residence of defendant JE and attended by defendant DJT. On the first occasion involving the defendant DJT, again, this is graphic. I'm going to do my best to read through this. If you have to scroll away, please protect your peace. On the first occasion involving the defendant, again, this person was 13 at the time. The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, was forced to manually stimulate defendant Trump with the use of her hand. On the second occasion involving defendant Donald J. Trump, the plaintiff, Katie Johnson, was forced to orally copulate defendant Trump by placing her mouth upon the defendant's erect penis until he reached climax. On the third occasion involving defendant Trump, the plaintiff, Katie Johnson, was forced to engage in an unnatural same-sex act with her fellow minor and slave, Maria Doe, age 12 at the time, for the pleasure of defendant Trump. After this act, both minors were forced to use their mouths. After zipping up, defendant Trump physically pushed both minors away while angrily berating them for their poor quality of performance. On the fourth and final encounter with defendant Trump, the plaintiff, Katie Johnson, was tied to a bed, who then proceeded to forcibly grape plaintiff Johnson. During the course of this savage assault, plaintiff Johnson loudly pled defendant Trump to please wear a condom. Defendant Trump responded by violently striking the plaintiff in the face with his open hand and screaming that he would do whatever he wanted as he refused to wear protection. After achieving climax, the defendant Trump put his suit back on. When the plaintiff, Katie Johnson, in tears asked defendant Trump what would happen if he had impregnated her, defendant Trump grabbed his wallet, threw some angry money at her, and said she should use the money to go get a fucking abortion. That is from the transcript of the court case. This was filed in the United States District Court, Central District of California. court document number EDCB16-007-97. I will put it, I'll give it to the mods. If they want to post that in the Discord, they can. I believe women. Why are people not demanding these documents be released? Why? Why? 13 and 12 years old. 13 and 12. In 2016, a woman using the pseudonym Katie Johnson or Jane Doe filed the lawsuit that I just read from, accusing DJ Tegan J.E. of raping her numerous times in the summer of 1984 when she was to be 13. The complaint alleged multiple such encounters. The case was reportedly dropped or withdrawn by the plaintiff due to numerous death threats against her and her family. Why are we protecting that? Why are conservatives, God-fearing people who believe in the protection of children, why are they not demanding this? Why are they not demanding this information go public? All of it. All of it. All of it. If you want to be critical of past administrations, go ahead, I don't give a fuck. Now it's in the hands of the Trump administration, who have lied at every fucking turn. Every turn, they have lied about this. Lied about it. Vice President ever, sure. Hey, Cage.
I'm sorry, it kind of re-traumatized me a little bit. People they don't understand when you've been essayed. Mine was in college. I was 19. I could not imagine being 12 or 13 and having that happen. I have 3 daughters myself. Sorry, I'm trying to hold it together. I think I would be in jail if I found out that it happened to one of my kids, because I don't think I could go without unaliving someone who did that to my child. Okay, it's bad enough that as an adult, but I don't know how these families were able to keep this secret for so long. I know that for me at the time, and see, this is the hard part. I was essayed by a white man. So, there was no chance of me even going to the cops because they were not going to believe me. So I don't understand why people don't believe us. It's not something you ever get over. I had to tell my ex-husband before we got married, so he would understand if something triggered something. To this day, if somebody grabs my wrist, I lose it. I've gone through lots of therapy, but that is the one thing that I have not been able to work through, being restrained like that. I don't understand why men feel that our bodies are not off limits. And I don't understand why this is something that you can do and laugh after, because that's what he did. And he was like, go ahead, tell somebody. They'll never believe you. These were children, okay? These were children, and I blamed myself for years because I thought it was my fault until I went to a therapist and she said, it's never your fault. And just so you know, for all of y'all who blame women for what they were wearing, I was wearing a pair of jeans and an oversized sweater. Real sexy, huh? So I want the files released because I feel like that would be justice for all of us who could not come forward. Because if they make an example of him and make him pay for what he's done and all of those people who are on that list, then I feel safer in this world, and I feel like my daughters are safer in this world. And to hear that, I can't imagine anybody wanting children like that. It just doesn't make any sense to me because, at 19, I still looked like I was about 15 or 16 years old. And so I want the files released because I feel like that would give me a sense of knowing that at least someone somewhere is going to be punished for deciding that they had a right to my body, even if it's not my attacker. I can't speak for all women, but I can speak for a lot of Black women who have been essayed by white men. We don't get any justice at all. And these girls aren't getting any justice because these are wealthy men. It's the same thing. So I want the files released because I feel like at least then there's an acknowledgement that we aren't liars. And that's really all I can say. I'm going to have to get down now. Thanks, Steve.
I love you, friend. I see you. I love you.
Love you too. Thanks.
Sorry. It's real shit. It's real. Hi, Bev. How are you?
I'm good. I believe any woman that says that they've been raped and have the guts to come out and deal with this, I believe them. And because it's just too embarrassing to want to have to go through that for years to get any sort of help. And I believe that sooner or later, we're going to find out that he has done this to his daughter. Because he has the hots for her, and we all know it. And I believe
let's not go there, Bev. Let's think about the things that we know. If we could, this conversation is difficult enough, but let's just focus on the things that we know. How we need to believe women. How we need to believe women, how we need to make sure that we're protecting the space of people that have been traumatized and survivors in this case, okay?
All I have to say is he's a sick man, and I don't know how he stayed in this long. We need to kick him to the curb and throw him in jail.
I agree.
Thank you. Agree.
Thank you, Bev, for being here. I appreciate you. RAINN.org, friends. RAINN.org. 988 if you're in crisis. I know these conversations are difficult. And like I said early, never is it my intention. Hope you guys know that. Excuse me. It's never my intention to re-traumatize someone. But this is not getting coverage. This is not getting coverage. Legacy media is abandoning the story because they're concerned about, thank you, Sam, for posting that. Because they're concerned about coverage. They're concerned about access. I've made a commitment to you that I am not going to stop talking about this. I'm not. And I understand it's traumatizing, and I get it. And I apologize for that. I don't know how else we can cover it unless we expose it. And I have no expectation that anyone will stay during these conversations. In fact, I would encourage you to do whatever you need to do to protect your peace. But we have to continue to talk about this. We have to. So I hope you can understand that that's why I'm choosing to do it. Hey.
Hi. No, I love that you're still talking about this, and it's important. And I hope that the men are staying because we need you in this fight. If you've been traumatized, you shouldn't have to stay. But if you're a man, you should be sitting and listening and sitting in the discomfort, because I watch those numbers drop and I don't like that. If every woman allowed to, every victim, survivor allowed to, every man needs to sit right here in that discomfort. So I think this would be a good time to remind people that threats happen quite often when reports come out. You know, we want to make sure that you know, that is something that happens with families. I experienced that harassment from my accuser's family to the point that they would stop in the middle of the road if I was out playing as a kid. So, like, that's normal. What we need to do is, if you want to help survivors, if you want to help break down this rampant rape culture that is in our in our country, in our world, make sure that you are addressing it every single day. If there is a woman out there, or specifically children, because I hear this a lot with students, because we've had now 3 cases where male teachers have been sleeping with students. And the comment that I hear all the time about these girls is that, oh, well, they were loose. That's not a thing when the power dynamic is that way. You know, it does not matter it does not matter. I don't care how often she spreads her legs. A grown man going after a child is gross. It is gross, and we should never blame the child. We should never blame it in that power dynamic. And that's something that we can address every single day. We've all heard that conversation. We've all heard it. We've all been privy to those. I had one yesterday where I pushed back. I said, the power dynamic doesn't matter. Like, whatever she is does not matter. He had the power in the relationship. He was in the wrong. It's gross. No matter if she was 18, I don't give a shit. Doesn't matter. He had the power in the relationship. It is gross. He needs to be the one who is held accountable for this. But quite often that's not what happens, because the girls get blamed. And when we talk about the blame culture, I blame religion, because the Bible is based in misogyny and patriarchy and blaming women. Look at fucking Eve. Eve got the short end of the stick for eating a piece of fruit. Like, what? And she is supposed to have, like, painful pregnancy? Yeah, no. Or like labor or whatever. Stupid. So dumb. But I get pushback on that. We have to address this misogyny in our culture and start by not treating little girls differently. They're not more difficult. They're not smarter. Or stop parentifying your children. Stop causing little girls to be adults sooner. Stop dressing them up in ways that they shouldn't have to be. And stop sexualizing them. Stop hypersexualizing them. They are children. Just as much as a little boy running around playing in the dirt is, they are children too. And start calling out fucking men. Like, oh my God. Anyway. I just wanted to address that because I feel like people always want to know how they can combat this in our culture. And that's how we can combat it.
You're right. You're right. Thanks for jumping in. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And quick plug tonight, guys, I'm going live with my friend Afton Bain and my friend Vic Myers here on TikTok and on YouTube. Guys, please show out. This is the smartest chat. If you want to listen to 2 very strong, powerful, progressive women out of the state of Tennessee, please, please, please show up for us tonight. We need you. We need to get more people turning out for the primary as well as the special election, because we need to flip seats. This is possible. We need to bring women into Congress, because women are going to save us, specifically Black women. But right now, Tennessee has a special election on. We have a progressive candidate, and she is the real deal, guys. And I need every single one of you to show out and show up so that we can get this special election and flip this, because the last thing we need is another potato or a moderate in this seat.
Preach.
It will be at 6:30 Central tonight. 6:30 Central tonight. I have it, my Substack, which you can subscribe to, posted that. It's on my Instagram and Facebook page. I will post a thing today. I am getting stifled in the algorithm right now. So do the thing, 6:30 Central time. So whatever time that means for your area, do that. So I guess 4:30 West Coast. But please, please, please show up. Please come listen to us. It will be, so if it's 6:30 Eastern, it's 7:30 6:30 Central. It's 7:30 Eastern. Please,
Correct.
please show up tonight. We would love to talk to you, ask questions, and our friend Vic Myers is a little afraid right now because he's going to have two very powerful blondes on his podcast tonight.
Thank you, friend. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you for having me. Bye, guys.
Got it. See you later. Okay. I think we've got some more guests. Good morning, Alicia. How are you today?
Good morning. Thanks for having me up, Steve. I'm an avid morning watcher. You're the only politics that I'm consuming right now every day for my own mental health. So I appreciate the entertainment while I'm getting ready in the mornings for work. So
I appreciate you. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I wanted to contribute to the conversation because we forget one component about this topic that no one's mentioned yet, and that's that every son has a mother, and a mother needs to raise her son to teach him how to treat a woman and what consent is and how to behave, especially when you're dating, or how do you approach those situations? And I don't think that that's being talked about a lot. So they're kind of raising themselves because, we don't talk about those kinds of things with our kids. It's taboo. But mothers, we need to do better. We need to do better with our sons.
I would agree with you, but I think dads have a very pivotal role in this as well, because we're trying to flip that dynamic. We're trying to flip that dynamic, right? And
I
we're
agree.
trying to raise, so I think it's a collaborative effort, whether you're a single dad, a single mom, dual parents, co-parents, whatever that might be. I think these conversations have to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. And you're right. It is a collaborative effort. And I think that because of the way that my generation has been raised, and maybe Steve, you can kind of speak from this angle. I feel like maybe, like, for example, my husband and other men his age, they came from the generation where they don't talk about it. So I'm challenging him to have those conversations with our son so that they happen. We have to change the trajectory of that and normalize talking about those things with our kids. And I don't want to put all of the fate to rest in dads, because dads may not know. They may be the same men that are contributing, or may have been at a young age, lack of self-control, lack of self-awareness, no impulse control. So we got to do better collaboratively about calling those things out. If your partner isn't good at something, call it out, challenge them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, that now, but that I think the point, and I agree with you, and I will challenge your thinking as well. I think more of this has to come from dads. I really do, because if we're trying to break the cycle, that's why when I say it's all men until it's no men, in particular, it's all white men until it's no white men, because we're the biggest perpetrators. We're the ones that are committing the most acts of violence against women. We're the ones that are committing the most crime in general. That has to change. And yes, obviously moms have to have that voice, mothers and sons. I get all that, but this has really got to come from dads.
I totally
from both.
Yeah,
from both,
I totally agree with that, Steve. And I think I'm trying to say the same thing. And that's why I'm saying, Mom, say something, because like I said, you're right. It's all men until it's no men. But those men may have been those men, and that's the part that worries me. So
I agree.
Yeah.
You're right. It's conditioning, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's part of the, when we've discussed this before about how we know how damaging the patriarchy is to women, but it's incredibly damaging to men as well, to the point that you're just calling out. Like, if you're raised to not treat women other than as property, then you're likely going to continue to treat women as property.
Yeah.
So to model that behavior that we want, like we've had this conversation before, we're trying to put it live together to say, how would you build a better man?
Yeah.
And I was disappointed, to be honest, because a lot of people said what I consider the bare minimum. Like, I want my husband or my partner to open the door for me, or I want him to pick up the breakfast dishes. I'm thinking, is that how low the fucking bar has become? And that, that's something that we generally have to work on.
The answer is yes, I think, Steve, which is why we have the culture we have.
Yeah.
So
sadly.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Alicia. Thank you for jumping in today. I really appreciate you. And thanks for the support.
Love ya.
You got it.
Keep
Love you
going.
too. See you later. Take care. All right, bye. Seriously, friends, like, right? I mean, is that how low the bar has become? Is that the expectation? The women that are in here, I want you to think about that. And it's a difficult question to ask. And I had this theory that we could come up with this model. What would that look like? Like, what would that look like? What would, if you could build, you're constructing a man out of clay and whatever else, and what would those characteristics look like? And we can talk about the obvious, like, you want somebody to have integrity and honesty and character and a good sense of self and maybe some self-awareness, those kinds of things. And that's kind of what that's sort of what I was thinking, right? And then when we ask the question, even to our mod team, and people struggle with that, right? Because it's like, I'm grateful that my partner or my husband or my boyfriend or whatever does these kinds of things. And I'm thinking to myself, that's how far we have to go if the bare minimum of human kindness is what women are looking for in men. And that's just horrible. That's just horrible. We should all just lean in with kindness when we can. If the expectation for a life partner is the bare minimum, that's tough. That's tough. And I'm sorry about that. But I get it. Outsider, how are you today?
Good morning. I think another thing that needs to be done is people need to stop idolizing people they don't even know, because they're not willing to hold them accountable. One of the things that's happening this morning is, Sean Diddy Combs is going into court for all the stuff that he did. And I mean, we have that video of him brutally attacking that woman. He's not being held accountable for that. That's not one of the things that they're holding against him. And I've seen this so much. I mean, I've been disappointed by people I thought I liked. I don't know these people, right? But every morning you watch them. Oh my God, aren't they great? And then you find out they're not what you thought they were. And people are refusing to see what's right in front of their eyes because they're afraid to be disappointed, or, they've put this person up on a pedestal, made them godlike. It's right there in front of your eyes. I laugh because people say to me, well, I know them. They wouldn't do that. And I go, you know them? And they go, yeah. I go, when did you meet them? Well, I never really met them. I just know. Well, you don't know anybody. I work with people for 10, 15 years and don't know them. Right? So people need to stop idolizing people so much that they refuse to accept the truth.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it's one thing to have people that you admire, right? It's one thing that you have people that you respect. But first of all, for people to idolize, in this case, politicians, stop worshiping them. Find people that you believe are good role models and hold them to that standard. We're all humans. We make mistakes. We screw up. I think character qualities that are appealing to me are people who are willing to be vulnerable, people who are willing to admit when they make a mistake and fucking own it and try to do better the next time. That's all we can ask of ourselves. That's all we can ask. right? Maybe a little bit of kindness, maybe a good sense of humor. Those kinds of things, those are great. That's all gravy. But at the end of the day, don't be a fucking asshole. Show a little bit of integrity. Show some character. Show some humility. Be willing to be vulnerable. Maybe go into a situation where maybe there are other emotions that you can share other than anger and lust.
Yeah.
And here we are, the bare minimum. It blew me away. Sam and I were talking about trying to develop this program to what would the better man look like. And it's so many times, even the comments that were in there now, it's the bare minimum. And I just feel horrible about that. But I guess I get it.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, we're not just talking about, of course, we're talking about celebrities and whatnot, because that's what's in the limelight. But, people that are so in love with somebody and they know that their child is being abused, but they won't do anything about it because they're afraid of losing that person.
Correct.
I
get that.
People that are so afraid of appearing not perfect to others that they will let it go on because you have to hide the secret. Stop being that person and call out that person if you know them. Because maybe if you bring it to light, something can be done. And if that person's not going to do it, then you need to step up and call somebody for the child, please.
Agreed. I appreciate your perspective, outsider. Thanks for jumping in today.
You.
Be safe out there. I mean, it shouldn't be complicated. I don't know why. It just seems so obvious to me, right? We're human beings. We're going to make mistakes, right? We're going to make mistakes. True character, from my perspective, is the acknowledgement of it and then an attempt to try to make sure that you don't do it again. Okay? I grew up, I played sports all through high school and into college. I was in many, many locker rooms, and I absolutely participated in locker room talk. There's no doubt about it. I can't change that. It happened. I acknowledge it. I know how bad it was. That's why other men have to be willing to call that shit out. It's just not acceptable. There's nothing wrong with finding a member of the opposite sex or the same sex attractive. There's nothing wrong with that. It's human emotions. It's how fucking creepy men get when those things happen. Just own your mistakes, fellas. Just own it and do better. Again, I try to relate things to the practical especially if you're a girl dad. Would you want your daughter subjected to some of the things that you did when you were younger? Right? Good point, Shane. Would you want that? Would you want that of your teenage daughter to be subjected to some of the things that you did as a teenager? And accept the criticism. Thank you for saying that, Shane. Accept criticism if somebody is criticizing you. Don't take it so fucking personally. It's an attempt to try to do better. Right? Would you want your daughter? Well, we'll try this in two separate angles. Would you want your daughter to be subjected to the same things that you did when you were their age? And would you want your son to do the same things that you did? And the answer better fucking be no. So if it's no, then have those conversations. Your daughter wants to feel safe talking to you. Your daughter wants to feel safe that if something like that happens, she can come to you and say that something like that happened. And instead of you blaming her or ask her what she was wearing or asking her what she said or did you lead him on, she wants to know that you're going to fucking believe her 10 toes down and you're going to be there for her. And your responsibility with your boys is to say, this shit isn't fucking, this is not right. Look at how your sister was impacted by this. My boys are feral when it comes to protecting their sister. And I love it. Especially my oldest. He wants to know who his sister's talking to, who she's FaceTiming. And I love it. And then my daughter's like, okay, I got this. And we're like, okay, trying to navigate that shit out. Again, ask your daughters, or would you want your daughter to be subjected to the things that you did when you were her age? And would you want your sons to do what you did? And the answer better fucking be no. It better be no. Period. And if it's not, then the cycle continues. Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you today?
Good. You probably don't remember this, but I talked to you a long time ago. It was on Matt's Live about my son joining the Marines and how he was red pilled. And
I remember. Yeah,
do you
I remember, Jen.
And it was
Yeah.
my old account got bananaed. So this is a newer one.
I remember you were stunned that he got red pilled as quickly as something like that, like as quickly as it happened. I think something like that. Is that
Yeah,
right about that?
because I blame it on I sent both my kids to a private school. I know I hate saying that because it sounds so pretentious, but I had my
That's okay.
reasons.
Sure.
And
we all have reasons. I get it.
Yeah, and they did well. And I've been following the lead that you guys discussed about letting my daughter handle him. But as far as like his respect for women, I know he's been red pilled, but I always instilled that in him. And I would even get compliments even when he was like, third, fourth grade, making sure he held doors open. I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but there were grown women that would come to me and say, your son is so polite. And so, I mean, every child should be that way regardless. But also a quick update on him. He got stationed in California, so I'm hoping he gets Newsomed while he's out there.
Liberally indoctrinated, you mean?
Yeah,
Sort of?
I'm hoping he gets to experience what it's like out there. And I'm not worried. Like I'm not trying to get off topic. I had something else to talk about, but just real quick, as a segue. Shoot, I am losing my train of thought.
It's all good. We got you. Deeper.
I hate when that happens.
Wait, right.
I was talking about him, California, letting my daughter handle. I'm not concerned. He's a good boy, even though that's happened to him. He's a good boy. I don't worry about him potentially like terrorizing anybody domestically if something, if the orange crazy person were to, try to order them to go somewhere again. I'm more worried about some other kind of global conflict happening.
Sure. That's fair.
But anyway, we were talking about believing women and all that. I don't think men understand how often women have had to deal with like assault or any kind of other thing. I just wanted to kind of give a quick rundown of what I've been through. I am 48 years old, so I have a lot of life under my belt, but this all happened, before I turned the age of 30. I hate saying this about my own children because I love them dearly, but both of them were the product of assault. I didn't understand what was happening to me when that happened. I thought that, and I'm not blaming my parents, but they never discussed that kind of situation with me, that, when you're in a committed relationship, that those kind of situations can happen. And I chose to follow through with those pregnancies with them. When my son's the youngest, when he was first of all, the day I was discharged from the hospital, his dad forced himself on me. Within an hour of us getting home from the hospital.
Jen, I just want to say trigger warning. It's okay. I just want to say trigger warning to the folks in the chat. Trigger warning. I just want to throw that out there just for everybody. If you feel like you need to scroll away, friends, then please.
I'm sorry, people.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all good.
Tell
your story.
Yeah, I couldn't talk about this for the longest time. I didn't even tell my own mother about how my children came into this world. But yeah, when the day I was discharged from the hospital and I had both my kids vaginally, he he did that to me that day within an hour of getting home. But those two, I mean, those were the only times that I was, raped. But even even when I was in college. I was visiting some friends out of, I'll just say Baltimore. We were in Baltimore, and just having a good time, walking down the street, doing the typical, early 20s bar hopping. And I was with a girlfriend of mine and two guy friends, and a man just came up to me in the street and shoved his tongue down my throat unsolicited. I didn't know who he was. I hadn't even made contact with him. And the guys that were with us, they were so shocked that they didn't react, and they felt horrible afterwards. That they apologized to me profusely, that they couldn't believe it happened right in front of their eyes, and they didn't know what to do. I mean, once, I don't even remember if I got him off of me or if they got him off of me, but one of them ran and found the nearest police officer, who of course said, well, I can't do anything. But those are just a few instances of me, and all of that happened before I was 30 years old. And what is the statistic now? 1 in 5 women. It's got to be more than that.
It's 1 in 4. I think it's
more,
1 in 4.
and it's more than that. It's got to be at least
1 in 4 that we know of.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't tell. Everybody knew about the incident on the street. I mean, because it wasn't as. I mean, it was invasive and awful to go through, but those times with my partner, I didn't report it because like I said, I didn't understand what was happening to me at the time. I didn't understand until I was out of that relationship that it was not normal. And I know that sounds ridiculous, and I even have a career in social work. That's how convoluted your mind can get. But that's why we don't say anything. We don't say anything because there's so much shame and embarrassment attached to it. And I'm not blaming my parents. But I feel like they could have had, or at least my mother could have had, more conversations with me surrounding that. My mother is a self-proclaimed, she was a virgin when she got married, so I don't even think she understood that kind of stuff. Maybe she did understand it. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened to her. Even in my parents' marriage, because they didn't have the greatest relationship growing up, even though they're still married. But I'm rambling now. I'm sorry.
It's okay, Jen.
I didn't mean to trauma dump and talk about my son at the same time.
No, it's okay. I remember our conversation. I always appreciate people their willingness to be transparent and vulnerable. I don't know if you're in our Discord. I might have talked to you about that before. Maybe
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to see. I probably am. I think I am a member. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
If you're not in there, please consider it, because we've developed a really strong community in there.
Yeah, and I hope I didn't trigger anybody. I totally didn't.
No, these conversations are hard. It's okay. It's okay. You don't. It's your story. You don't need to apologize.
And
I want to.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but this is also embarrassing, but I ended a very long relationship in April because he presented himself as somebody very different. When we got together, I knew he was a conservative, which that doesn't bother me. The classic conservatives, I don't care. But I do care the way you vote, and he voted for Trump, even though I begged him, just strictly on the sexual assault part. He knew what happened to me, and he still chose to vote for him, and I couldn't forgive it.
I don't blame you, and you shouldn't have to forgive it. I just want to thank you for being so vulnerable today. And please don't ever apologize for sharing your story. And that's why we have spaces like this, so those things can happen. So thank you again for jumping in today. And if you haven't, like I said, if you haven't, you got it. If you haven't joined our Discord, please consider doing so. Okay.
I will. Thank you for letting me up.
Always, Jen. Be well. Be safe. Take care.
Thank you.
Somebody had asked a question in the chat about the stats for men. I think it's fair because sexual assault and abuse are. Let me just clarify something. It is absolutely all men. Okay, I think it's really important that we never forget that. It is all men until it's no men. It's all white people until it's no white people. So therefore, it's all white men until it's no white person. No white men. I think it's really, really important that we make sure that people understand that it understands that the dynamic that it is all men, and men know for the most part. And there's a few creators in this space. I'll call out JW. I've called him out before. He holds that mirror up, and a lot of men don't want to see it. And that's what I want, right? I want I want men to look in the mirror and understand. And I think if we try to personalize it a little bit, by asking the questions that I asked earlier, to say, would you want your daughter subjected to the things that you did? Would you want your son doing the same things that you did? And if the answer is anything other than no, then guess what? You are part of the fucking problem. Don't forget that. Nani, how are you today?
I'm good. Good morning to you, Stephen. Good morning to everyone. I'll try to be short. As I said before, English is my third language, so please bear me. I'm trying to find the words that can be understandable by your audience to get my point. So my thing is my real story that I was in a very abusive relationship with my ex-husband, and I had 2 sons from him. So after 6 years of this toxic relationship, when my older sons started to be like 5 years old, and I started to see him doing like treating me as a mother in a bad way, and his father used to encourage him to do this by laughing, clapping, and I said to myself, oh, when I'm going to be 45 years old, I will not be only in the house with a one toxic person, but I will be living with 3 toxic men because my sons will grow up like him. So I hear many women said, I stayed with him in this bad relationship because of the kids. No, you have to leave him not only because of you or for you, but you have to leave him for your kids. So you don't see them the same as him when they become men. And thank God I decided this. I was living in back in my country. It's very hard for Christians to get divorced, but I fought. I'm the first person or first woman in my family to had divorce back in these days, like 20 years ago. But I did it, and then I raised my sons by myself, and now they're 24 and 26 years old. I'm very, very proud of them. And let me tell you the story of my oldest son, how he treats women. I didn't speak too much to him, but he said, because I saw you. I saw how respectful you are, so women deserve respect. And the youngest one day he was telling me a story that he met a girl, he liked her, and he asked her, can I kiss you? And this girl ashamed him. He told him, do you ask me to do this? You had to grab me. And he told her, no, it seems that you get to be used to be treated like this from your ex-boyfriends, but it's not me. I will not take something from you that you don't want to give it to me. So I have to ask you first. So yes, please, if you are in a toxic relationship, leave this because of your sons. Leave this for the sake of your kids, to be able to raise them in a better place, better environment. So instead of having 3 bad men, you will have two good men instead. I
So
hope
well
you
said,
got the
Nani.
point. Thank you.
I absolutely did so well, and good on you for those conversations that you've had with your boys. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
You too.
Thank you.
And just some crime stats. The assaults against boys are not being perpetrated by women. They're being perpetrated by men. It is all men until it's no men. Again, it is all men until it's no men. That needs to be said, and needs to be said over and over and over again. Hi, Cassie.
Hi. I just wanted to bring up something that I haven't been hearing a whole lot about on some of these lives is the cuts to the chip system and how that's affecting families that have special needs. I know the state that I live in, almost every single family that has and receives DDD services for their special needs children are getting their hours cut from 40 to 3 hours. And so if we don't have these supports, then families aren't allowed or able to also hold a job outside of the home. And so now we have to quit our jobs in order to care for our children, which the government says we have to care for anyway, because that's our responsibility. So I did have 2 full-time jobs, and now they've cut my hours down to 8 hours a week instead of 38 hours a week. I don't know how I'm going to survive. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm scared. Everybody's in crisis mode. Everybody is in crisis mode. And it's just not being talked about enough that this is the very first thing that is going. The very first thing that has been cut are hours for our special needs children. And my son requires 24-hour care. So I had to put in my 2 weeks notice, and I'm looking at being homeless in the next 2 months. It's not being talked about enough. And I know there's nothing we can do, but that's the big, beautiful bill, right?
It is. And those are some of the things that we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but you're right, Cassie. The CHIPS program in general, and like we have these conversations, most of us are always so just unbelievably just. I keep asking the question, why? Why are we doing these things? Why are we cutting food benefits? Why are we cutting CHIP benefits? Why are we cutting Medicaid? Why are we kicking people off insurance? Why are we demonizing brown people to justify tax cuts for the rich? And I think that's the answer. It's because of just power and just people. The cruelty is the point, and it doesn't matter how many people are harmed along the way. These things will continue to happen. I am so sorry to hear about what you're going through. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I just feel like I needed to be heard. There's no place to be heard. They're not allowing us to even not sign the documents. We're told that we have to sign the documents, and we're also being told that we're not allowed to appeal or write a grievance. So they're literally taking all of our voices, and we have nowhere for our anger and our resentment and our sadness to go. I mean, I can't believe I'm about to lose my home. I'm a single mom. I'm working on one income, which equals 2 full-time jobs. But now I don't have any jobs. Now I'm left with 0 jobs. I went from 2 to 0 in a week, and that took effect on October 1st. It was swift, and it was unapologetic. And I just don't know what I'm going to do. I really, really don't. And I'm just glad that you have your platform here so that I can be heard. So I appreciate that.
Cassie, it's my honor. I don't know if you're in our Discord, but we have a community that we've developed in there, and there's a mutual aid section, and we've been able to connect the dots for lots of people. So if you're interested in joining our Discord, if you're not in there already, it might be a good place to start. It's at least there's a community there that I can guarantee will lean in hard and love you unconditionally. So if you're interested, please consider joining.
Absolutely. I think I am a part of your Discord. I just haven't been in there in a long time, but thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Hang in there, okay? We got you. We see you. Thank you, Cassie.
Thank you.
Hate this shit, man. Just hate this shit. I just hate it. I don't even know. Man. Hey, Michelle. How you doing?
Hey, good. I just actually was coming up because of Cassie. I am a special needs mama as well. So if she can just reach out to me, I would like to figure out how to help her out. I'm in California, so we do have a lot of resources out here that do help us. For instance, like in-home support services, I know that they've cut those fundings to those programs in a lot of other states, and I think it's down to maybe 11 states now that provide that program for parents or caregivers of special needs communities. So if she can reach out to me, I would like to extend some information on some resources to help her.
I think she just followed you, Michelle. I think I saw that note come by.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
How you doing?
Then, yeah, I'll definitely reach out. I'm hanging in there. I think that's a loaded question these days, but doing my best. My kids are doing well. We're getting my disabled son up and situated now. He goes for his morning walks, and we're doing good. And Fish Trucker and I have been on the communicating parts of getting your caravan going. So
he mentioned that. Thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you. And thank you for the merch. The shirt looks great, by the way. So thank you for that too. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. And I thank you. I appreciate your contribution to that.
I appreciate it.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I'm sorry.
Take a breath.
Yeah, I will. I got you. I appreciate you saying that. Have a good day. Be safe. All right. I'll talk to you later. Take care. All right. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Look, these are hard conversations and they're emotional, but I want this to make you fucking angry. That's my hope. I want this to fuel something in you or to light a match in you that's never been lit before. The beauty of this space, right, is that people's vulnerability and people's humility and people's transparency comes shining through. And I am humbled so much by people willing to come up and share their stories in this environment, in this space. It humbles me. But I want, when people hear these stories, when women speak up about the horrible things that happen to them and the trauma that they still live with, and then other people in the chat commenting, same, like they can feel it. I want that to make you so fucking angry. Because so many of us have sat by on the sidelines, not aware of the systemic harm that's being done to people in our society every day. Whether it be the poor, whether it be the disabled, whether it be women, whether it be any marginalized community. The beauty of this space has given people the ability to see inside other communities. And like I always say, as a white man in America, a system built by people who look like me to benefit people to look like me, to protect people who look like me. Therefore, it is me and other people who look like me that need to go into other spaces and shut the fuck up and just fucking listen and just sit there and fucking take it and accept the fact that us are at the epitome of harm. We are the ones that have harmed people, generally speaking, on the collective. We are the ones who've done it. We are the perpetrators of crimes against women and children. We are the ones that are committing violent crimes. We are the ones that are dragging our society back. It is us. And I want people to get fucking angry. For the best thing that we can do is to listen to these stories and understand that, holy fuck, and have it to be a rude awakening, just a rude awakening, that we're the ones that have done it. We are the ones that are responsible for it. I can sit here and take it. I have no problem taking it because I fucking know. So fragile, toxic white men, when the fuck are you going to realize it too? Because I can tell you right now, If you think operating under the condition that you're operating in is alpha, I got some news for you. You are the weakest, most cowardice, feckless, obnoxious, mediocre men that have ever existed. You've been afforded every possible privilege. You are at the pinnacle, the demographic pinnacle. There's nothing that you've been denied in your life. And yet, here you are, perpetuating violence against women, blaming women, blaming trans people who haven't done a goddamn fucking thing to you, blaming immigrants. And then you yourself can accept your own inequities and your own fucking lameness. It's about fucking time you woke the fuck up. Many of you won't. I don't expect all of you to. But if 2%, 5% of you can realize that every time we have these conversations, it's always men. Oh, I know I'm white. I know I'm white. I know that. Did you hear what I just said, Hanadi? That's what self-awareness is. Because I know that I'm part of the problem. I have no expectations at all of anyone. I am not a safe space. I'm not. I don't get to make that decision. I am not the arbiter for what a good man is. I don't get to make that decision. This is not about me. This is about what we can do to influence others. You see, this is my point. This comment. This is my point. Why can't white people be proud of their skin color? You don't get it, Hannah. You just don't get it. You just don't get it. SPL, how are you today?
Joe, how you doing, sir?
I'm all right. What's on your mind?
So, what is this concept of all men until it's all men? Like, I don't get it. I've been trying to understand it, but I can't.
You don't
Because when I look
understand
at the numbers, it's just not adding up to all men. It's a
the
very low
numbers of what?
percentage. Abusive men, and that get in trouble for
Abuse of, you mean abuse
no
by men?
abusive men is a very low number. It's not. It's not. When
What
you
do you mean it's
factor in
what do you
all
what do you
men,
what do you mean it's
because you're
what do
talking
you mean
about
it's a
heterosexual men, right?
what do you mean it's a low number?
That's abusive to women. That's what I'm saying.
1 in 4 women are assaulted. How can it be a low number?
That's a very low number. When you talk
How
when you factor in
SPL
all the men, yeah,
SPL? Did you hear what I said?
1 in 4, yeah, it's a low number. Out of the
1
total
in 4.
population,
Dude, listen. 1 in 4 women are assaulted. How the fuck can it be a low number?
but you're saying
That's
it's all men.
25%. That's
That's not
25%
all
of
men,
women.
though. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's not all
All
men.
men are all men are the
Stop
problem.
being
What
so
are you doing to
emotional, dude.
Shut the fuck up, you fucking asshole. Get the fuck out of here. Don't fucking tell me. You should get more emotional, you fucking coward. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? You're part of the fucking problem. Why don't you wake the fuck up? Who the fuck are you? You're the fucking problem, dude. My emotions are real because I fucking give a shit. Where the fuck are yours? That's why it's all men. That's why it's all men. You pathetic fuck. That's why it's all men.
Hi there. Hi there. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. I wanted to talk about the essay parts. My girls are now in their 30s, but several years ago, when I was young mom, single, and I like to go out with my friends on the weekends, and I would send my girls, they were 13, 10, and 7 at the time, to my sister's house to spend the night with their cousins and everything. My brother lived there. And I thought they enjoyed it until one day I was at work and I got a phone call from their school counselor telling me that they had all three of my girls in her office. And she said that my brother had been soliciting them for sex and he was bribing them with alcohol and cigarettes. I got them in counseling and I immediately went to my mom's to talk to her about it. All she could tell me was, I don't know. She wouldn't talk to me about it. She wouldn't even talk to her granddaughters about it. She brushed it under the rug. Several years later, my brother met a woman who had a young daughter. And he did this to my niece too, apparently. And my sister didn't speak out either. We stayed quiet. We never told this woman. And about 10 years ago, it came out, her daughter told her best friend that my brother was molesting her. CPS went to their home, and that night my brother went out to his camper and shot himself. And I strongly hold my mom accountable. I mean, I should have spoke out to you. And the woman, she's my niece's mother now. My niece has no father now. But she said, why didn't you guys tell me? Why didn't you tell me about this? And no one spoke out. But my mom made me so angry. And even to this day, I'm in rehab. And during some of my drunken nights, I would text my mom and say nasty things to her about, why did you do this to my girls? Why did you do this to him? Why didn't you help them? And she would say, I lost a child too. I said, why don't you tell that to your granddaughters? Why don't you try to help your granddaughters? And granted, they're grown women now, but they still hold that. And even my sisters thought I was a bitch for even bringing it up to my mom, because of course it hurt my mom with my brother, but it was something I went through, my girls went through, and no one acknowledged it. My family just stayed quiet. I just wanted to bring that up. I feel like I would have rather had him in prison alive than dead. And then her little girl has to live with that. Has to live with knowing that she told. And then the other little girl that went to the counselor that told on my brother, they both had to sit with that and live with that guilt, knowing what he did. So, but
you shouldn't, of course, don't blame yourself, and don't even really blame your mom. It was on him. He did this. You didn't. He did it. It's all men, Lisa.
Yeah. I wanted to share something with, is it Casey or Cassie?
Cassie. Yeah.
Cassie. I'm a nurse. I work in the Medicaid realm, but I work with 60 and older populations. But I do know that in Ohio, they have it's called Ohio Home Care Waivers for Medicaid. And sometimes the parents can become certified with Medicaid, and they can be their child's caregiver and get paid for that. And like right now, I know in the older population, 60 and older, the caregivers are getting paid like $26 an hour, which is more than I even make. So, I mean, I don't know what state she's in. Maybe she can check in to see if there's a resource such as that. But then I do know some home health agencies will also hire family to take care of their family members and pay them through the agency. So just a couple of resources to maybe check into.
She's in Arizona. She just commented. Cassie, why don't you follow Lisa? Maybe there's some things that you guys can have in common and might be able to help each other from a resource perspective.
Okay.
But
Yeah, and
as always, Lisa.
I have a friend that she is a foster parent, but she's adopted many of her foster children, and they're all what I want to say, special needs. And so she might also have resources that I can try to tap into as well.
It's very kind of you. Thank you for telling your story, and thank you for being here, Lisa. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You got
Bye.
it. Again, I want people to get angry. I just want people to get angry. You know, in doing this, there's, you know, I go into this with a plan, right? And these conversations become organic, which is the most beautiful part about it. A beautiful part about what we've got here. I'm always looking for things that are going to motivate someone, whether it be somebody who volunteered for the first time, or whether it be someone who started a group, or someone who joined Indivisible, or whatever that might be. I'm always trying to find those things. This should be the common thread. I want people to get angry about this stuff. I want people to be so unbelievably angry that it motivates you to do something. Whatever that something might be, as we discussed. I don't care what it is, just a matter of doing something. So if this works out, and I was reached out to by a couple people yesterday after the conversation about me wanting to go out on the road to talk to people, that's what's going to happen. Like, I want to be talking to dads who are my age, who grew up in locker rooms, who didn't get the memo that the behavior is bad, and remind them, because they probably have daughters my age, they probably have sons my age, they will likely have grandchildren at some point. These conversations have to fucking happen. Men have got to do better. And it's not women, it's not your job. It's my job. It's not your job to try to change men's behavior. It's my job. It's other people who look like me. It's our job collectively, fellas. If you don't fucking like this shit, then what the fuck are you going to do about it? It's recognizing it is not enough. It's not. Calling it out is what has to happen, and then calling it out again. And if that means you have to put yourself in harm's way, then fucking do it. Because the alternative is more women getting raped, more women being assaulted, more women being trafficked. If you have to use your body to do that, then fucking do it. That's how bad it is. And I'm nonviolent. It's all men until it's no men. And until other men can call the fucking shit out, it's not going to change. It's just not. It's just disgusting how far we have fallen. Trying to connect, Rosie. If you want to request again, it looks like you might have timed out. If you want to request again, I'll bring you right back up.
There I am. Hi, hon. I've been listening, and I think you're completely on the right path. With men need to be examples to other guys, absolutely. And I think a lot of people don't do it because they don't know how to do it. It doesn't mean you have to get into a screaming match with somebody, but you do have to name what just happened, name the behavior. You have to say what its impact is. And then you have to have what's going to happen in the future, whether you want to call that a consequence or something that, and leave it at that. But you have to follow through with the consequence. If that means if this happens again, you and I will no longer hang out together, then that's what you have to do. You have to follow through with it. I do want to make one point, though. Men need to do better, and white women need to do better, too. We are the ones raising these children, primary caregivers lots of times, And I will use an example. There was a school pew-pewing that was thwarted. It didn't happen. It was in Florida. And it was I believe it was a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old, middle schoolers. And they had plans, they had everything. And thankfully it was thwarted because one kid told the teacher and it was a wash, but they were taken to court. And in the court, the mother is sitting there weeping, saying, but he's just a little boy. Stop that. Your child had not only the means and ability to do this, he had a plan written down. Stop making excuses. Stop saying boys will be boys. Stop saying, oh, it can't be my son. He's too young. No. Because if they never get consequences from their parents, mother, father, grandparent, whatever adult is raising this child, they are going to think what they're doing is okay. And you are perpetuating that violence through generations. And it is not your job to be your child's best friend. You are the parent. And sometimes that sucks. I got a taste of that being in education because we are the pseudo-parent when we have your child. Come to find out, this mother that was sitting there weeping, was a convicted felon. The house that she was in, where there were pew-pews, there weren't supposed to be pew-pews. Then this child, 2 years later, violated the terms of the release because he was a minor. And his older brother, who lived in the house where they weren't supposed to have pew-pews, made a ghost pew-pew. And this now 15-year-old had pictures of himself on his own cell phone posing with it. And it's like, this is not, oh, he's just a little boy. No, he is obsessed. He needs probably some mental health care, serious mental health care, because he has some serious anger issues that he doesn't know how to work out. And with the mother that's doing that, he doesn't have a good future ahead of him. But we need to do better and stop making excuses. When your kid does bad, your kid does bad. And it's not the teacher's fault. It's not their friend's fault. It's your kid's fault because they chose to do that. I don't care how young they are. They need to have consequences. So
I'm glad you said what you said too about like I can't speak for white women on behalf of white women, so I'm glad you did. I agree that it's the collective palm-colored individuals in our society, right, that are perpetuating these problems. I know your work in school, Rosie, and I've always meant to ask you this question. You're aware of red pilling, right? The concept of red pilling, I'm assuming, correct?
Red pilling?
Red pilling. Do you know what that is?
So
red pilling is it's like the Andrew Tate effect. It's the Charlie Kirk effect. It's the Ben Shapiro effect. It's the Nick Fuentes effect. The red pill, the alt-right pill, like it's like the Matrix. They talk about it in terms of the red pill. The red pill is what we're fighting back against. Red pilling affecting our young men so that they feel like being alpha means I can be somebody like Andrew Tate. I can be somebody like that person who perpetuates violence against women. They think it's cool. Mm-hmm. So my question may not land as well since you're not as aware with it, but
I worked in a grade school, so it was
but I know, but my concern is that, like, is it happening younger and younger and younger? Because the target for red pills is 18 to 23, 18 to 24. That's like the sweet spot for the red pill.
Mm-hmm.
So my fear, my concern is that it's happening even younger. I
didn't see a lot of that. In fact, I do not think the right is ready for the little alphas that are in school right now, the grade schoolers. The oldest alphas will be voting in the next presidential election. And by and large, what I have seen with them is they do not like any of the isms, ists, or phobias. They are fiercely loyal. If they're a friend in their classroom has a preferred pronouns of they, them, and you come in and misgender them, they will come into your face. They have no F's to give. They are as feral and as fierce as they can be. I saw we had a sixth grader who was trans and was having a hard day and asked the teacher to go out into the hallway just to take a break. And 6 of this child's classmates went out into the hallway with them just to sit down and be supportive. Not to tease them, not to be awful. And so I think where we're seeing a lot of it, where it really, and even in shocking, like, I have a friend who is African American, and her African American son did the red pill and voted, if you can believe it, for, yes, the Orange Menace, which his mother was horrified by. And it did all come from the bro podcasts and that sort of thing. The oh yeah, we're gonna own the libs, and then you say, what does that mean? I don't know.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna do it because it's that group mindset. That's the mob mentality.
Correct.
You're doing it, I think you're cool, so I'm going to do it, even if I have no idea what we're doing or the consequences. Or, I mean, you'll say, the thing with CK is he was not ambiguous on his stance at all. I did not like him, but he was very firm on what he believed. And he said it again and again and again and again and again. They were not one-offs. Yep. So people will say, correct. Oh, you're misinterpreting him. No, we're not.
No, we're not.
He was very firm and very vocal on what he believed. And, you know, there's others out there like Fuentes and some others that are going to be just as loud or louder now. And how do you combat it? I think you have to, I think the only way to combat it is with education.
I completely agree with you. Calling it out, making sure that we're hearing women's voices and victims' voices and survivors' voices, and white women calling out white women, white men calling out white men. It's literally on us. I mean, just look at the voting blocks. Just look at the demographics, how people vote. You know, the largest voting block that still continues to vote for conservative politics are white men, followed closely by white women. And so, like,
exactly,
you know.
And talking to the white women voting bloc from the amount that were red pretty much stayed the same in the last 2 elections. And I will tell you that talking to that demographic is one of the most frustrating things. I feel like I am talking to a freaking brick. And it is, you have to have, and I realize that because I was a white woman raised in the United States, you're raised to try to be the good little girl. You're not supposed to rock the boat. You're trying to please everyone. You're supposed to, you know, date the quarterback in high school and be skinny and beautiful and, you know, marry young and have your kids and have that dream house in the suburbs and go to his church and vote how he does and don't rock the boat and agree with him. And to break out of that protective little bubble that you have willingly entered and stayed in and made stronger is hard. And to actually stand up to the moms group or your friends at church or, you know, your best friend or even your family and say, absolutely not, that's not what I believe and I don't want my children to do that. And if you keep talking about that, we're not coming to Thanksgiving. To do that takes a lot of courage and guts.
Takes guts, I agree. You're right. The family dynamic is tough.
And getting white women to break out of that protective bubble is so hard.
So well said. I always appreciate your brain. Thank you for jumping in here and your kindness.
Yeah, thanks. You take it easy, sweetie.
I love you, friend. See you later. Take care. That's right. So the call to arms for other white women out there. What are you doing to use Rosie's model, right? Are you just following along? Are you thinking that it can't be your blue-eyed, you know, your blonde-haired, blue-eyed young man? Not my baby. Couldn't be my baby. My baby would never harm someone. My beautiful blue-eyed bouncing baby boy would never grape a woman. Yeah, they are. Yep, they are. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Now, I see the chirping up here. All the liberals do is do lives hating on white men. Listen, in case you didn't notice, I am a white man. In case you didn't notice, I'm calling out other white men. In case you didn't notice, we have people on our panel who are also calling out white women. Why? Because we are the ones that are committing the crimes. And in many cases, the white women are just allowing it to happen, perpetuating it because of the patriarchy, because they're caught up in it too. If you don't like it, then fucking leave. I don't care. I'm 58. I've got a 23-year-old son, a 22-year-old son, and a girl my daughter who just turned 18. And I want life to be better for them. I don't want my daughter to have to walk around every single day with every single man that she sees for her to have to consider them a threat. I get it. I understand it. And we've talked about this, and she knows that every single man is a threat. She gets it. And I don't want that. None of us should want that. So what the fuck are we going to do about it? We just going to write it off? Think about the little things that we say that we used to think are innocent. Oh, that little man, he's such a heartbreaker. What a ladies' man. That shit seems so innocuous and so innocent. It's not. It's not. We have to do better. We have to call it out. Again, back to my MO here. I want this shit to make you fucking angry. I want you to be so unbelievably angry that the next time you're part of something or in a community that involves someone and someone that you know and or respect says something you didn't like, that you fucking call them out. And gentlemen, if that means that you have to put yourself between the cancer, the person who said the comment, or the person who made the statement, then you need to do it. Because just acknowledging it, that you're aware of it's not enough. You're out in public, you see it all the fucking time. You see bad behavior all the time, then call it the fuck out. Use your privilege. Because the cowardice white men, the fucking bullies out there, the people that are getting away with this, are not used to being challenged. So when they are, if it again, and I'm nonviolent, I'm a lover, not a fighter. But I've inserted myself, no one's asking for my defense, but I've inserted myself into situations because of what I've seen. And it's unacceptable. And I'll do it again, and I'll do it again, and I'll fucking do it again. And that's what I expect of more people to do, because that's where we're at here. Because that's what this has come down to. I'm not promoting violence. I'm defending rights. I'm not promoting violence. On the contrary, I wish it didn't have to come to that. But it does. But it does come to that. We've got a few more minutes, folks. Try to get everybody in. Kale, how are you today?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. What's on your mind?
First, I just want to say that I stumbled across your page on accident. It was the best accident to ever happen, especially right now where I feel like I am being gaslit from every which way. It's so nice to have somebody and a whole community that relates to you. So thank you so much. I appreciate it because I feel like I'm going insane.
I appreciate you. We're all going insane. So you definitely found the right place. So yes, we're all going insane.
Trigger warning. I wanted to go back to the essay topic.
Sure.
I heard a couple stories. I myself have not been in a situation like that, which I'm very, I guess I could say, privileged to have not ever having to be in one. And so I'm grateful. So listening to these stories and constantly reading about them or seeing about them. And by the way, there's a whole channel that I feel like people who don't want to understand tend to miss. There's a whole channel dedicated to predominantly white men in this country that tend to either abuse or kill or grape people, and it's called the ID channel. And it's so baffling that anytime a point is brought up, it's always just kind of dismissed like you're overreacting, or, all these things, all these excuses come up to not take accountability. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you are that person committing it. Just be aware of it. And for the women who are speaking up and giving their stories, thank you so much for sharing that, because just because the stats say, 1 in every 4 women, which is a lot. So I guess that guy just didn't understand that every 4 women that you've met, one of them most likely have dealt with that or been in that situation. I don't understand why he didn't get that. But anyways, probably because he's coming more from an egotistical mindset versus an understanding.
Of course.
And yeah, and it's quite annoying that we battle this every day. But anyways, for the women who are continuously speaking up, thank you for doing so. A lot of times we tend to believe that only strangers will hurt us. No, sometimes it's the people who are closest to us. And a lot of times those things do not get reported. And that's why those stories don't often get passed down. I myself am Black and Puerto Rican. And so within the Black community, and probably within a lot of...
Hey, Al, please keep telling your story. I'll be right back. Please continue to tell your story. I'll be right back.
Okay. Just to point out that within my house, it was always whatever happens in this house stays in this house. Again, I didn't experience anything that was disturbing, right? But that happens a lot within any culture, I feel like, where it's like whatever happens in this house stays in this house. And so the more that we talk about these things, I really do feel like we're continuously opening up that door to have these conversations, because I'm definitely going to be aware. And I do believe that if you see something, say something. So I just want to thank you guys for constantly sharing your stories. We all need to be in this together. And I really hope that one day we can really reach that, because we need to know that we're not alone in this, whether we've been through it or we know of someone. I know of plenty of people who have, and it's heartbreaking. So please continue. Thank you so much for sharing. Again, thank you for this wonderful community. I listen to you every morning. I read your guys' comments, and it's so validating. So if you feel like you need to take a break mentally, for anyone, please do that, because I understand. I mean, I've been angry since the election. I've also gone through grief since the election. And, it's only been a short amount of time. Can you believe that? So
I know.
Yeah. So just continue the good fight. We're in this together, and, I think that things will be better on the other side. Don't give up. And like I said, take your breaks when you need to. And thank you for sharing your stories.
Kale, would you consider joining our Discord?
I would love to.
So the link is in the link tree that's in my bio. You'll see Facts Discord, or I have a feeling some of my mods will probably reach out to you if you're not in there already. It's because we're about building community here, and since you mentioned that, it's a great spot for people who are like-minded to share their stories and then connect people. And we've been able to build this amazing community that lives there. So we'd be honored if you joined us.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
You got it. Thank you for being here. Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, SPL, you're a piece of shit. You can get the fuck out of here. Go find somebody. Go find somebody else who will accept your madness. Go join a red pill community, and you guys can jerk each other off together and celebrate how much you despise women and how much you want to blame them for everything. Hi, Amber.
Hi. How are you, Steve?
I'm okay. How you doing?
I'm okay. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
It is
so my family and I always do a couple things in honor of my dad during this month. So it can be tough, and it also is the time period that I was being harassed and stalked and all that leading up to his unaliving. So
yeah,
and it's also football season, and he was a football coach, so it's a tough time of year. The Project 2025 stated goals include defunding the Office of Violence Against Women. Wally, shut up. Sorry, that's my dog. The Office of Violence Against Women, which receives most of its funding from the 1984 Violent Crime Victims Act.
Correct.
That's what started, providing federal grants to all the domestic violence programs across the country. That includes like grants to states that run their own programs. And we're seeing a major problem with decrease in services for domestic violence victims. And you know that I've always supported RAIN.
Yeah.
They defunded their hotline, so there's no longer a hotline for RAIN. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I know you can use the website, but I did not know that they.
Yeah. So if you go to Google and type in RAIN hotline, it'll come up with a page that says that they've been defunded. So they no longer have a 1-800 number to call because of cuts in federal funding. So that's very disturbing to me because I've referred so many people to that hotline and I've called it myself. And they're wonderful for both emotional support and resources. So the fact that that doesn't exist anymore is really, really, it's really upsetting. And I had when I was on here last time, I had referred people to call that hotline, not realizing that it doesn't exist anymore. So I need to apologize for that.
You don't need to apologize.
I mean,
That's not your fault.
I know,
You know?
but yes, there's still like an online chat option. But they've been largely cut in their funding. So the RAIN has been cut. They're cutting the grants that are provided by the 1984 Victims of Crime Act by $20 billion. I'm sorry, $200 million. My apologies. By $200 million. Those are the grants that go to fund local, like rural domestic violence shelters and hotlines and services, as well as rape crisis services. And they're already like struggling to keep up. There was a story about a town in Arkansas that was struggling to meet half the needs of the services that they provided before this cut. And now they're shutting down shelters, they're shutting down hotlines because the funding is gone. It's just...
We just checked, Amber. It does look like the number is still active.
Oh, good.
800-656-HOPE.
Okay.
Or text HOPE to 66743, and there's also an online chat.
I don't know
whether it's staffed 24/7 may be a different issue, but the number looks like the number does still exist.
It said that it was not available. So I'm glad that's not the case. But
yeah, it's on the website. That's okay. That's all good. It's all good.
But their goal is to defund this. Like if you read the section in Project 2025 about this, they state that they want to defund social services, domestic violence services. They want to get rid of the Office of Violence Against Women. It's part of their goal, and
it is.
That's one of the reasons why passing this current budget was a problem, because this $200 million in cuts is in this budget.
Of course.
That's what's in this budget. So that's and Mike Johnson saying there's nothing whatsoever partisan in there. There's nothing whatsoever that anybody could disagree with. Really, Mike Johnson? Because I disagree with you cutting $200 million to the Victims of Crime Act that's going to defund all these shelters and hotlines and services.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. What was the last thing I was going to say? I forgot, but the red pill thing is definitely reaching younger audiences. As you know, I have 4 kids from 8 to 18. And when the whole Nick Fuentes, Your Body, My Choice thing happened, do you remember that?
I do, yes.
My 11-year-old came home from school and said that boys were telling her, your body, my choice. So 11. Okay. So yeah, it's definitely reaching younger and younger kids because their parents are not supervising their internet behavior. So they have access to all that stuff,
Well, I know this is a rough month for you.
Yeah.
You know how much I love you and how much our community loves you. It's always good to speak to you. I appreciate you very much.
Can I just ask for just everybody to just for one moment just think about my dad. I know you didn't know him, but he is one of those crime statistics resulting from domestic violence. So just for a second, his name was Steve.
Good man.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just wanted to share the budget cuts and all that because it's really, this is what they've said they were going to do it, and they're doing it. So
they're following the script as expected, as we told them they would. Thank you for being here, Amber. I love you.
Yeah.
Friend. Talk to you later.
Have a great day, everybody.
Right. You too.
Bye.
See you later. Bye. All right, friends, we're gonna wrap there. I'm sorry if I didn't get to everybody who requested today. We're gonna raid our friend Danny, D-A-N-I. You know Danny, D-A-N-I. I love Danny. So please tell her we said hello. Before you go, a couple things. If you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please consider doing that. Appreciate you all very, very much. Listen, I'll have these conversations all day, every day. They do take their toll, that's for sure. But they should. Because if they don't, then there's something wrong with us. If we don't feel this shit, then we're not going to be motivated to do something by it. If this stuff doesn't sting and burn and make you angry and allow you to run every fucking course of emotion there is, then there's something wrong because it's not having the effect that it should. The people that I've met in this community, the brave women who've come up here, putting their faith in me to be able to sit here and have this conversation, I can't even explain to you how much that means to me. My mods know how much that impacts me. So the least that we can do, and for the most part, everybody in our chat does this, the least that we can do is be angry by it. Is feel their emotion, believe them, support them, and be angry about it. And be angry. And do something about it. And not tolerate it. And not accept it. And not just brush it away. And not just say, not my kid. Or not my husband. Or not my friend. And then you may be forced to make some difficult decisions in your life. Some really difficult decisions that you might need to exclude people from your life because of this shit. This is not political from my perspective. This is humanity. This is who we want to be as people. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and say, I am proud of the person I am. I'm working hard. I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to get better and better every day, every single day. Or are you going to be like, somebody else will take care of it? Yeah. Somebody else will take care of it. Somebody else will fix it. I don't have to worry about it. Somebody else will do it. Not my kid. Not my son. Not my middle schooler. Not my blue-eyed, blonde-haired baby boy. You're wrong. It is. Because it's all men until it's no men. And I believe women. Friends, you guys are the smartest, most compassionate, most amazing human beings in this chat, and I'm grateful that you're here. I have the best mods in the fucking business. I love you all. Have yourselves a great weekend. Get outside, touch some grass. Joy is resistance. Remember that. Joy is resistance. Find something that you do for you. You time. Make sure you take some. Sam, I'm talking to you. You time for you.